Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Well, welcome in here on a Thursday morning of the week. Feels a little bit different this week, OB, because we didn't have that Monday show.
Yeah, it's true. So it seems like it's a quicker week.
The grooming of the goatee is looking good.
Starting to come in.
Looking good.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully, my gray muzzle will look as good as Buck's when it comes all the way in.
You're the Nick Nolte of TexAgs.
Nick Nolte.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
48 hours.
And I'm
Reggie
Nick
Hammond.
Nolte I'm fine with. I don't want to be the guy that was found in the trash bin with the hair all crazy and the rest of it.
That's right.
But that's probably my destiny.
Well, no, I hope not. So the spring schedule, I guess, came out yesterday. I don't know if you saw it, but it's starting on Friday for A&M football.
Okay.
Spring schedule. Starting Friday, March 20th. They're going to have 15 practices, obviously, ending on the spring games, Saturday, April the 18th.
Very standard.
Yep.
It seems like that's about when it always goes and ends. So,
if I'm right, Saturday, March 20th, I believe, is the first round of the NCAA basketball tournament.
So I'm hoping.
That would be the second round, right? Because Saturday.
Yeah, I'm hoping that A&M is involved.
Me too.
And we'll figure it out. We'll figure out the football and basketball coverage. But
in the middle of softball, in the middle of baseball,
yeah,
and maybe some NFL draft stuff.
Think about for a minute. You look at and I know, but barely a third of the way through the basketball season. But you look at A&M's basketball; they're on top of the SEC standings.
Mm-hmm.
A&M finished the regular season tied atop the SEC football standings. Volleyball won a national championship.
Men's track's
good. Women's track is good. Golf is good. Tennis is good. Equestrian, I assume they're good. A lot of horse sense.
Yeah.
Not every season's had a great. It didn't work out, but softball was number one in the nation. And you're like, this is how it's supposed to be. I've always said A&M should be good in everything.
Yes, but don't you get the sense that people are not satisfied?
Good.
You like that?
I want that to be the case. I want there to be not just an expectation, but a demand for excellence. That doesn't mean you're going to win every championship.
Yeah, I agree. But I think sometimes some of us, and maybe even me included in this, don't stop to smell the roses, right? Like volleyball wins, 24 hours later, we've moved on emotionally. I know super volleyball fans didn't, but I'm talking about like those who are mad at the that football ended the way it did, and women's basketball is struggling, and like there are some. To your point, there's a lot of good things happening.
It's a very strong athletic department. Yeah. Not every team is great, but the vast majority is not just competitive, but contending.
Yeah,
yeah. It's I don't know who's deserves all the
love,
I was just gonna say all the credit, because nobody deserves all the credit, but I guess you always start with the athletic director.
It is
even though he didn't hire
effect.
all the coaches that are being successful, but
yeah.
But yeah, it's a very strong athletic department. Hopefully, getting stronger.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about your most recent article on identifying where A&M can improve or decline in 2026.
Yeah,
and I guess
we've had some of this discussion before, because that's what you do in the offseason, right?
Yeah, but let's. Do you want to attack it of where you predict they will improve, or do you want to Because I know the article took an angle.
It's all about projection.
Yep.
And then reasons why they might be this or that. So, yeah, whatever you want to do. I mean,
Okay, so quarterback.
And I'd love to get your.
Yeah.
We can debate it.
Sure. So quarterback, I think quarterback will be better.
I think quarterback will be better simply because it's not 100% in any case, but you're better typically, and I'd say the majority of quarterbacks typically are better in their second year, full year as a starter, as opposed to their first. You learn as you go.
Yep.
You're better in your second year. I think just about everybody listen to me right now. My goodness, my hair, I got to do something with it. I'm starting getting very Lucci-like in my hair.
Good, I think. It's part of the Nick Nolte look.
When he got out of the trash bin. You're typically in your job better in your third year than you're in your second year.
Yeah.
It's everything else. So I expect Marcel Reed to go from being a very good quarterback to even better. Where a lot of folks are trying to dismiss him because, and I understand, I saw all the interceptions too and the mistakes too. But this is a guy threw for the most yardage. I think he had the most passing yardage of an A&M quarterback since Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
I mean, is that tells you nothing, and he 25 touchdowns. Look, hopefully next year, 25 touchdowns turns into 36 or more.
Yep.
And 12 interceptions turn into 6 or less.
The interesting part about Marcel to me was that, and I know the interceptions dominated the end of the season, but if you remember in the beginning of the year, there'd be games where you're like, he's really not doing anything. And then he'd do something. Like, to me, Marcel is you evaluate him through 4 quarters, not necessarily a half, right? Because South Carolina is obviously the most glaring example, but there are other games where you're like, and then you kind of look at it like, wait, his numbers look really good right now midway through the third quarter. They look really good in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. He's more steady, and then he would have a flash of spectacular. Think about this with Marcel before the last 2 games, okay? But let's think, and by the way, against Miami, he was the running game.
Yeah.
And if he completes the pass on the run to KC Concepcion's 20, that's the pass that's going to haunt him.
Yeah.
And Aggie's front. But think about this. What if you get everything up until those 10 games? If you get everything that you saw from Marcel, plus you get the touchdown pass to Mario Craver at the end of the Auburn game that would have nailed that one down, and everybody would have saw it. It was about a 25-yard touchdown pass that got called back because Armage was downfield by about a yard. And what if you also get the 56, 57-yard run against Arkansas that would have nailed it down, but there was a holding penalty that called it back. And then the third one, what if you also now get I can't remember how far, 30-yard touchdown run against South Carolina that would have nailed it down but got called back. If you give me those 3 plays, how much difference? Marcel might have been the leader in the Heisman race with those 3 plays.
Yeah,
because they're not only do they add to your stats, but their highlight plays are going to be shown on ESPN and everywhere else.
He would have been higher through those 10 games, but the last game,
the last 2 would have torpedoed it. I'm just saying maybe
perception-wise,
he might have been being talked at as the leader in the race if you give me those plays. And but what would have happened is if the same thing would have happened against Texas, it would have got away from him. But anyway, I do feel like Marcel will be improved.
Running back, this is going to sound like blasphemy, but I think they're going to be better at running back. You're not better without Le'Veon Moss, but you didn't have Le'Veon Moss half the season. So does Reuben Owens get the same kind of growth that we hope that Marcel gets, right? If Reuben Owens is better, and then the collection of backs under him, I mean, Amari Daniels really wasn't part of the offense last year. Let's be honest. Does Morrow improve? Does Tiger Ryden get some opportunities? KJ Edwards, Carson Baker, that is a nice running back crew. But I think it starts with Reuben Owens. If Reuben Owens can take a step, he started a bunch last year for them. If he can take a step and not fall like he did in the Texas game as much as he did, I think that is a different look. So I'll say can be better.
I call it the same. It's the only position where I looked at it and say it projects about the same. And you were the one that made the very astute point is that, yeah, you're not as good without Le'Veon, but you didn't have Le'Veon for half the year. So exactly how much you didn't. And on top of that, do you know how many games Le'Veon last year had more than 11 carries?
3?
2.
2. Okay.
He had 10 carries against Notre Dame, and he had 21 against Auburn. And then he had 11 against Mississippi State and 10 against Utah State. 3 against UTSA, 5 against Florida, then he got hurt, and 7 against Miami. So
he didn't run that much.
Right. So that kind of further reinforces your point.
Yeah.
That and I got to tell you, look, it's always a big mistake to pin too much hope on an incoming freshman, and yet the more I watch KJ Edwards, just the more I'm intrigued of what might be with this kid. Looks like a home run hitter.
I think, I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to be, well, let me rephrase that. I don't know if you're going to get the dramatic highlight plays and the grit that you got from Nate Borkature, but I think tight ends, playmaking ability is going to be better.
I think tight end is going to be better. Look, Nate Borkature, thank you. You were great. You exceeded expectations. Great. You were great compared to what was expected.
But he also has some memorable plays.
He did. I can think 3 touchdowns that are really important, especially one at Notre Dame. But he and Theo combined had 26 catches for about 350 yards, something like that. It might have been a little bit more combined, and 4 touchdowns. Well, the kid from Fresno State, Richie Anderson, he had something like 34 catches, give or take a couple.
Houston Thomas, too.
And I was going to get to, and Houston Thomas, plus Keone Armstrong.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a guy that, we were waiting on him, like you do wait on true freshmen, like I was just talking about a lot of times. So we didn't see very much of him last year. But the kid's enormous, and he's talented. He's athletic. So if he's ready, you might see a next level guy emerge.
Offensive line, OB, I can't imagine it being better.
No.
Even though nobody liked the way it ended, right? But you can't lose guys to the NFL that are projected to go highly and be veterans and be a part of what was one of the better offensive lines we've seen and expect it to be the same with new guys. You just can't.
It's not going to be better. It was kind of like that 2020 line. It was really good and very, very experienced.
Yep.
I think Kenyon Green was the only non-senior on that line, if I'm not mistaken. And it was dominant. And the next year they weren't as good. You're probably not going to be as good. Now the difference you have this year as opposed to then is you can go out in the transfer portal and get guys.
Fix it. Yep.
So we'll see. But there's a lot of. Here's the deal. And I say this all the time. The difference is, what's the difference in your decline? Is it going to be like stepping off a cliff and falling, 100 feet, or is it going to be like stepping off the curb? And the hope is, LSU fell off the cliff. Texas probably stepped off the curb.
Yeah.
What you want to be is that, and then maybe if you get lucky, if your 5-star guy, Rodgers, is, comes in and is ready to play like that to that level. Bordon can be the guy that you saw last year. You brought in Tyree Adams and Trevon Ball. Well, what if those guys come in and play really well? Look, I think the problem or the question is going to be on the left side of the line. I think the right side of the line today will be as good, if not better, than it was last year. The left side, that's where you have Basantes and Zoom.
I want to do wide receiver. And I agree with you. That's going to be a decline. But it could be better. And here's my why.
I agree with you. Go ahead. I want to hear you.
It's not better today, but it can be better for 2 reasons. If Marcel's better, and you can connect on some of those bigger throws that you missed early on in the season, and a bigger threat, right? A taller, stronger, bigger dude, right? In Isaiah Horton, then I think it could be better. I don't expect it to be yak better, but maybe over the top better.
Yeah, some of those long passes that just missed. Well, Hey, look, there's nobody who was a bigger fan than Casey Concepcion. I wish he was staying. I wish him all the best. I hope my Dallas Cowboys draft him, even though I'm sure he's too good for them not to screw that up. But all that said, Casey's what? 6 feet tall, maybe, maybe. Well, the kid from Alabama is what, 6'4"?
Yep.
Okay, and then Jerome Miles is 6'2.5", and you hear the whole, what is it, catch radius?
Yeah. Right?
So you don't have to be quite as accurate on your deep balls if you got big athletic guys that can, you have more room for, I don't want to say error, but just it's more forgiving.
Yep.
And I think, to your point, that's what those guys can provide. Plus, I love what Ashton Bethel Roman was as a number 3 option late in the year. He really came on.
He did. I would say, probably starting around the Arkansas game?
Yeah.
Yep. Let's do defense on the other side.
Okay.
All right. This is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and this hour has a name, OB.
Yes, this is the Go Hour.
Presented by the warehouse at
CC Creations, right down there.
Yeah. And we're not there right now, but I can see it. We're just, across the way from our holistic planning cool zone.
Cool zone. The only thing cool in this room today is the cool zone.
Yeah, it's 387 degrees in this room.
And the only reason I'm wearing this jacket is because it's the only way for this thing to clip on.
I think that jacket's too cool for you. It's a really nice jacket.
Yeah, duck camp jacket, and it's light, but it's so hot in here. In fact, we could be sitting here with towels on our waist, like being in a steam bath.
Yeah, I'm not a big steam bath guy. It's not my scene.
I'm not a big steam bath, but I've done it.
Oh.
I've done it. I've sat in there and sweat.
Yeah,
like I'm sweating right now.
Yeah. If you want to be part of the conversation, you can call us up on the Buppy's Catering and
Bartending
hotline 979-693-1150.
Yeah.
And then you can text us on the
Catalyst PPE
Pure Performance Energy. Text line
979-693-1150.
Let's go around the room left to right and say hi to the people. Behind the glass is the Director of the Year, Nick Savage. Nick, good morning.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I might be getting ahead of y'all a little bit. You might be getting into this in the next segment, but just kind of spin off what y'all have been talking about. What's up, OB?
Somebody's waving behind you.
Oh, that's Justin. Every time he goes on air or I put myself on camera, he waves. So he'll even do it in the social center. He thinks no one notices, but I do. Anyways, what position group do you think will take the biggest step? Maybe, again, if you're saving this for the next segment, you can hold it. But
no, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea.
Let's answer it like this. Offensively, which position group takes the biggest step? And I say tight end.
I'm going to say quarterback.
Felt like the movie Friday.
I do.
All right. Well, if that's the case, we're winning the freaking national championship.
Well, I don't know about that, but he's a good player with a lot of room to get better. And it surprises me how many Aggies just feel like he's just another guy.
If Marcel Reed makes the biggest improvement on the team, okay? Then, I'm sorry, you're back in the playoffs.
Playoffs.
It's that simple, right? Is it that simple?
You got to be better. You still got to be good on defense, but I will feel very confident. Now, here's the deal: is I would like to see Marcel run more, but I don't want to have him see him running for his life because the offensive line can't block.
This is true. This is absolutely true. Good question, Nick. We're going to keep you around, I promise. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Clark Griswold is hanging out with us. Cooper Patterson, what's up, buddy?
I don't know who Clark. I didn't understand that reference at all.
Do you see it? Do you kind of get it?
Yeah, kind of. But
I'll look it up at the break.
Yeah, I don't know. You're just giving me 80s dad vibes right at the moment, which is good. The glasses, the hat,
the
shirt.
Visor, the old
Nick, do you see what I'm saying?
Rockets?
Yeah, I like that pull, David. That's
when's the last time you were on vacation?
Winter break.
Ever been to Wally World?
Did you ever drive? Have you ever gone from Chicago to L.A.?
Nope.
No.
Ever been to Europe?
Nope.
How about the Grand Canyon?
Also no.
Ever done Christmas lights and get electrocuted?
Also no.
You have a cousin named Eddie?
Also no.
I ran out of things. There's got to be another one.
You ever get a bunch of Christmas bonus that was just a membership to a jelly club?
I haven't had a full-time job yet, so no.
Ever kidnapped your boss on Christmas Eve?
Close, but no.
Okay.
You ever go skinny dipping with Christy Brinkley?
Also no.
Okay.
Have you ever seen her driving next to you?
Nope.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Oh my God.
By the way, I got a really good Instagram reel yesterday. I'll talk about it on the other side because we're already late for a break. I'll talk about it on the other side.
Coop.
But it kind of goes to this whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, Coop, just give us some news.
What you got, Coop?
Well, we're already talking about next year, and I don't want to move on from the guys that we got going to the NFL. So I want to talk about the Senior Bowl, which is starting. It's kicking off officially on the 31st, but the drills have already started. We've got some Aggies there, including Casey Concepcion, Cassius Howell, Le'Veon Moss, Will Lee, Trey Zune, Scooby Williams, Demetrius Cronover, and Nate Borkature, who all over my Twitter feed had an incredible catch, practically off the helmet of the defender. So tune in. I think it's on NFL Network I was seeing a lot of the drills on. So if you want to see those Aggies continue to perform, improve their draft stock, go look over there.
What a find was Nate Borkature.
That highlight of him making that catch, and that is spectacular. He just fit in, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, but again, to go out and find that guy that was little used tells you something about Nebraska. And for him to come in and make the impact that he did, you're like, who saw that? Well, Elko and company.
Yeah.
And once again, Borkature is a perfect example of why in the portal, if you have questions, you at least get some optimism that they're going to come up with the right answers because they find guys like Nate Borkature.
Yeah. Well,
continue.
One more.
So on Friday at 4 p.m., Aggie softball is hosting an open practice at Davis Diamond. This is ahead of their season opener in the Aggie Classic on February 5th against ACU OB. What's their mascot?
What, Abilene Christian?
Yeah, Abilene Christian.
Eagles, right?
Nope, Wildcats. And then you'll know this one, Utah State.
Aggies.
Utah Aggies, yeah.
Gotcha. So 4:30 for ACU and 7 p.m. for Utah State.
All right.
Thank you, Clark.
ACU, Wildcats.
What's Clark's real name?
You know
what do they call him?
Was Abilene?
He had a nickname.
Yeah. I'll think of it in the break.
Oh, I have seen this movie. I know exactly what y'all are talking about. It took so long. I've seen this movie.
Abilene High School, are they the Eagles?
I don't do high school.
I covered Longview versus Abilene once. Maybe that's why I came up with Eagles. Anyway, Sparky. That's what
They are the
Beverly
Eagles,
D'Angelo
OB.
called him. Huh?
Abilene High School are the Eagles.
That's why I came up with the Eagles.
All right, let's hit a break.
Right town, wrong school.
We'll do the defense. We'll do something else. We'll have Stephen McGee on. 1775. We should take Stephen McGee to 1775.
We should take everybody to 1775 if you deserve it, because McGee would really enjoy that. You know what I think he would really like? I think he'd like the pork ribs. He might even say, hey, he could actually provide some of the pork. He likes to get in helicopters and shoot it at wild hogs. And then he can bring them to 1775. You've done that, huh?
No, I would like to.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
I'd probably fall out, but yeah, it would be fun.
Well, they can put a harness on you. Anyway, but and they could take those and turn those into some immaculate pork ribs. And then, of course, you can still get that succulent brisket that it's amazing, and the jalapeno cheese sausage and that pork, like that pig that McGee shot.
Different
you can turn it, I know, but
just for the
Without, I know Brad and Brandon, they know some magic that can work the gaminess out of it. And of course, there's the turkey and of course the queso mac and cheese. They got other things. Those are just the highlights that we like. But yeah, they got pulled pork, and then they got sides. One time Irma was there with me, and she just ordered a baked potato that was like big as this laptop, and it was just stuffed over the top with brisket. She ate about half of it and took the rest home and had that second half for dinner. You've had their desserts even.
I had it all. And I'm not a dessert guy, but I eat it there. It is 1775. 1775, txbbq.com, 979-492-6241.
And it's good.
Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites, while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. I don't want Stephen McGee waiting on us too long, so maybe we'll hold off on defense till tomorrow.
All right.
Or maybe just do it with Stephen. But I do want to get back to the Clark Griswold thing. So remember I told you I got an Instagram reel. My buddy Freddie sent me a video about why millennials, Gen X, your generation, knows more about stuff before our timeline, if you will, right? And why this generation doesn't. Although Cooper does know about Clark. It just didn't hit him right away. And it's because in the 80s and 90s, this was a really good video that broke it down, cable companies, that's when they exploded, and they didn't have enough content. So what they did was they took old shows and they just, and I knew it, but I didn't verbalize, I couldn't verbalize it the way this video did. And they would put on the Brady Bunch and the Honeymooners and all these shows and cartoons that for us was way before my time, but it became part of like your daily routine. You come home, watch TBS when you come home from school, Saved by the Bell, followed by old school episodes of the Honeymooners, whatever. That's I got the timing.
To the moon, Alice.
No chance he's ever seen that.
No.
Yeah.
You know what? So,
Jackie Gleason.
You know what they don't watch, and I think this is sad. Is like I was talking, it might have been Nagley back there one time about I Love Lucy. It might not have been Nagley, but they're like, what? I'm like, that. You know how colleges come up with these, I can't use the word I want to use. So these questionable courses. You know, hey, we're going to do a course in, I think somebody said, like Taylor Swift songs. I'm like, are you crazy? You know,
why is that a course?
Seriously? But there should be like this course in like American sitcoms. And you start with I Love Lucy, which is funny today, right? Have you ever, you know, when she's getting drunk with the vitamin to Vegemin, or when her and Ethel are stuffing the chocolates in their top, that's hilarious today.
Were you a Welcome Back Kotter guy?
Yeah, the Sweat Hogs.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, up your nose with a rubber hose.
Yeah,
yeah. I think I was a sophomore in high school when that was popular.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else.
Gabe Kaplan, who kind of looked like Gabe Bach.
A little bit, yeah.
With hair.
Yeah, stronger. Yeah. What other old school show? I mean, you talk about it all the time. Sanford and Son.
Sanford and Son was a great good times, you know.
I know Sanford and Son.
Oh yeah.
Do you? How do you know Sanford and Son?
My grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He showed me like
To the Moon,
Little Rascals,
Elizabeth, I'm coming.
Amos and Andy, Sanford and Son. I know a lot of that old stuff.
Yeah,
Did you just say Seinfeld? Is that what you just said?
No, not Seinfeld.
I liked Hogan's Heroes.
I know Seinfeld.
That was funny. I
didn't watch Hogan's Heroes.
I liked Green Acres.
Okay, I'm Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, I loved Beverly.
I know Beverly Hillbillies.
Jethro.
That's my grandpa's
Jethro
favorite
Bodine.
show.
I love the Beverly Hillbillies. Yeah, so Bonanza, even though it wasn't a comedy, but I liked Bonanza.
Bonanza, yeah.
Yeah, so and now they get,
MASH. You were probably
MASH.
I was not when MASH came on. I changed the station.
I mean, I watched
every time.
it. And then I think then you got into like I guess it was late 70s, early 80s, and Cheers was like the best show on TV. So
hey,
and then Cosby.
I'd like to get some.
By the way, I think maybe the single greatest scene in a sitcom was Cosby when he's teaching Theo about money. And responsibility about money. That's classic.
Yeah. Hey, Cooper, let's get a football question or a text or something there, if you don't mind, from the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy hotline or text line, because I feel like we got to get some sports in this segment.
I got something. I was scrolling through ESPN yesterday, and I saw Bill Connolly make an article about the top 100 games of the 2025 season.
Interesting.
My thought instantly was, where's A&M at? Because we had some classic games.
Yeah, I would think
this year.
I would think they have about 3 that would be ranked pretty high. I would think.
You think 3? Well, you just guessed correctly. 3 ranked really high, and then they didn't make any others on the list, so they.
Well, you're going to talk about the Miami game, the Notre Dame game, and the probably South Carolina game.
Exactly. You got it exactly right.
Oh, wow.
Miami was ranked number 16. 11 was South Carolina, and number 4 was at Notre Dame. And I honestly think the top 3 games were all CFP semifinal games, and then the national championship game. I think
he just first non-playoff game.
First non-playoff game.
That's pretty cool
on the whole list.
It was a great game. I think people forget because it was so early in the season. Not we didn't forget, but a lot of the national audience.
Yeah, it comes down to a touchdown pass on fourth and 11 with 19 seconds to go to win on the road at Notre Dame.
With a tight end nobody had ever heard.
Yeah, it kind of gets hard to top that, right?
Yeah. All right, let's hit a break here. Stephen McGee will join us on the other side. Imagine a workspace designed for how we work now, collaborative, inspiring, and surrounded by real energy. That is the Lumen at Lake Walk. The Lumen is Bryan College Station's only Class A plus office building with lake views, on-site dining, fitness and conference amenities, all just steps from the Stella Hotel and everything that Lake Walk has to offer. This is a place built for the modern business, a place that helps attract clients and talent and impress everyone and keeps them energized. And here's something that Aggie's going to appreciate. The Lumen is Aggie-owned and an Aggie-owned project developed by William Cole Company. It's the same group that brought you the Traditions Club, the Stella Hotel, and Lake Walk. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or if you're looking for your next headquarters or family office, this is where innovation meets lifestyle. Now leasing at the Lumen. Check more out at lakewalktx.com. That is lakewalktx.com. And we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Time for our weekly conversation with Stephen McGee, our QB1, and your financial quarterback at Paragon Financial Advisors, helping you call the right place for your financial future. What's up, buddy?
So 0 to awful. I think we all agree medians are awful.
Awful.
Yeah. Just atrocious.
How about traffic on Highway 6? You like that?
Brutal. I was in Houston the last 2 days.
Yeah.
And I got a little dose. I was near the Galleria.
That's horrendous.
How people stay sane in Houston, Texas.
Are they?
Well, I don't know. I'm not there to be present, but I can tell you, I would struggle. I was struggling this morning on 6. It was completely stopped. And I'm texting Savage. I'm like, bro, send me that Zoom link. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I can't.
Traffic is getting interesting around
But it's
here.
gotten worse the last, I think, 2 weeks.
Yeah, as this highway project takes hold or whatever. But it's my patience for it. I'm going to have to detour. I'm going to be going through neighborhoods.
Well, now, like, my timing is off. Right?
Exactly.
I used to know what time I could leave, and if I left a minute or two late, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm like, it's TBD if I make it to the show.
Timing's infinitely more difficult at this stage of life with kids. It's like there's always something that's...
Tell me about it, bro.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just...
stage of life with kids. Just finding that out, huh? Of course you are just finding it out.
It only gets more busy.
Dude, I'm like, why am I always rushing?
Can I tell you my schedule this week? Yesterday, I had the boys playing in a game close to Magnolia. I had my daughter playing here for soccer for high school. Isla, my other daughter, was in tomball playing. Then I have Friday, 2 games going on. Saturday, 2 games going on in Austin in the morning. And I'm coming back to drop off one daughter to go back for Sunday for another game. That's just that.
I think in my house, I'd have to say, hey,
it's over.
Soccer's at the local park. You guys can walk down there and eat your heart out. Like, I love you, but that's impressive, man. Dad of the year.
Well, I mean,
and so this is the sport time of year for you guys if y'all are all
it's year round for soccer. But my point is, it doesn't matter what sport it is. If you play at 12, you're playing all year long, right? Softball, baseball, football. You got the 7-on-7. So much more busy now than when you were a kid.
It's crazy. I mean, part of me thinks it's not the best thing for kids.
I don't disagree.
365 sports, and they like skip the lemonade stand stage of life and like biking around in all the alleys and exploring life and being outside. Like, I guess they are outside. And I'd rather than be doing sports than video games. So don't hear this the wrong way, but
that's what happens though when they get home and they don't have something to do. It's straight to the tablet, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. I want my kids to play sports. They want to be involved in sports, but hearing some of these stories, especially kids, families with a lot of kids, their lives are basically chasing sports, and then everyone's going to have the next Division I or professional athlete.
Well, that's how we were. I know you're from a small town, so I was from a small town now. But a lot of guys, especially when you got in high school, you played every sport because was not a whole lot else to do.
Yeah.
Now, I used to get crazy yelling at my son because he wanted to sit there and play Fortnite. And then, all the time. And then I'm like, well, who bought him this?
Yeah. Hey, who's the culprit here? Yeah. By the way, is this a Fu Manchu? What is the...
No, it's not a Fu Manchu. I'd have to shave this part for it to be a Fu Manchu.
Okay.
It's going to be goat.
You are the goat, bro. That is... How... Is it? Are we going to go just like scruff, or are we going to let it go?
So, all right. Since you're asking, the reason how come I'm not shaving is, first of all, Irma suggested it because, and the motivation was we were talking about our dog who's got now a gray muzzle, and I said something like, "Yeah, I would have a gray," and she said, "Why don't you do that?" And then I thought. She said, "Yeah, I had one, years ago. She liked it, and she said, why don't you go and see one that looks like gray and it'll look like bucks?" And then I thought, yeah, well, if I do that, maybe I'll just, look, we love our dog like some people, more than some people love their kids. And I thought, well, if I do that, maybe I'll just keep it to honor the dog until he's not long for this world. Unfortunately, he beat the Reaper last year when we were in Denver. We thought. Yeah. We thought we were going to have to put him down, and then it turns out the cancer diagnosis was false, so he's still around. But so I said, hey, I'll just honor the dog with We'll both have gray muzzles.
With the goat. The goat with the goat.
One other thing about being busy with kids. I don't want it to sound like that. I actually cherish these moments because the time in the car with the kids, going back and forth, it's real good alone time. And my boys are graduating this year. I'm going to miss it. So I wanted to make sure I said that because it's not a bad thing. It's just a different thing.
It is a different thing. I'm with you. I'm kind of selfishly hoping my daughter takes to golf for that exact reason.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of driving wherever, I'm on the golf course with her in a golf cart for 9 holes, and they, get them off the phone or whatever. And
I was once told the easiest college scholarship to get for sports is women's golf.
Really?
That's what I was told that. I don't know if it's true. I would think, first of all, I would think, well, maybe it's like rowing or equestrian. And then someone says, yeah, but you don't have as many programs. I'm not saying you're going to go to A&M. Maybe you're going to go to Sam Houston or even lower on the level. But you got to have, you got Title IX, so you got to have the scholarships. Yeah. You got so many players, and not that many girls play golf, at least to that level. And so,
Interesting.
So teach her to play golf, and you probably won't have to buy.
You know what I'm really pushing?
What?
Piano.
There you go.
Like, what a great skill set.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I wish I would have made my kids learn an instrument.
You want your son to play guitar?
Hey, I mean,
that's
strum straight to the heart. You know what I mean?
That's the ticket.
That's the ticket. He ain't getting it from me. I can promise you.
Hey, football-wise, OB said something, and tell me if I'm phrasing it correctly.
Okay.
That if you were to predict which position group would have the biggest leap in 26, you said, or at least on offense,
the greatest improvement on offense
would be quarterback.
I say quarterback.
Do you think that's the case next year? And if that's the case, what does that mean about A&M season?
Well, if that's the case, I think A&M could be lethal. I mean, that's if you look at the end of this year. I think we talked about this a million times since the Miami game, but the teams that win, quarterback is playing at a high level, right? Yep. And it's true in college, it's true in the NFL. And if your quarterback is playing at a high level when it matters most at the end of the year, you're going to have a chance when you have a talented player like Marcel. We have the unfortunate reality of our season was that I think he played at a very high level throughout. I mean, he was a Heisman contender going into the final game of the year.
Right.
Let's not forget that. And I think it was kind of the reversal of a trend, though, where our offense started to decline for whatever reason from a production perspective. And it's not just on Marcel toward the end of the year. And our defense played at a very high level. I felt like they were playing at a championship level through that Miami game. I mean, they were very impressive. I mean, they kept Miami from, it was like really a punt return. I mean, they didn't even give up a touchdown, right? If I remember correctly, it's been long enough.
The Texas game, interestingly, though, they didn't in the second half. I thought in the first half, though, they kept them scoreless, right? It was 10-0 at the half? Or
that is true. They had some lapses there. But I would say as an aggregate, right? I mean, like, even the best defenses in the country are going to give up points and they're going to have lulls. But I think if you look at their body of work for the last 4 games, I thought that they played at a very high level, championship level. And for whatever reason, our offense was just not in rhythm. And that's probably a credit to the fact that we played a higher caliber defense from a talent. Yeah. I mean, the fronts were really good. Miami, Texas has some really good front guys. The back ends challenged our wide receivers. They did a better job. And in those moments, when those defenses are really good and they take away what you want to do, number one, and you've got to progress on to 2, 3 on time, that's where the quarterback, the elite level play. So to OB's point, if that happens, watch out.
To me, Stephen, where Marcel takes the leap is making decisive or making quick decisions, making those decisions faster. I believe that if you go back and watch the Texas game, the primary difference between Marcel and Arch Manning in that game was Arch making I'm going to run. I see it. I'm going to go. Because Arch only threw for about 170 yards in that game. He's not or maybe less than that. He didn't light up A&M. Then he had a touchdown pass on
first half he was non-existent.
On a botched coverage.
Yep.
But the difference for Arch in that game was he ran so effectively.
Yep.
And Marcel, who we know can run effectively, didn't. And I think the reason how come they did a nice job, Texas did of scheming for it, but he also sometimes he hesitated.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And if he had just gone,
Arch did not hesitate.
Right. So I'm saying where I think Marcel can be better in the second year is making, seeing things quicker and making the faster decisions.
That's awesome. I mean, decisiveness is a word that I heard so many times in Dallas. Make decisive decisions.
Let's hit a break. We'll come back with another segment with Stephen McGee. Right now, we're talking Rollo Insurance. You get a personal agent, a direct phone number, someone who's going to know your situation directly. Morgan's my guy at Rollo Insurance. You got a great group there. Keith is awesome. You know Jason Jackson, and as OB says, Jason Jackson and the boys. They're fantastic. They're going to know your situation. They're going to make sure that you get the right insurance, particular device or whatever situation. We'll use the word again. For your family, right? They are fantastic at what they do. They've got 60 offices in the great state of Texas, but their headquarters is on Highway 6 right here in College Station. You should call them up at 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for Buy, Sell, Hold, brought to you by Aggie and Paragon Financial Advisors. If you want financial guidance that truly puts you first, visit paragon-adv.com. Okay, you heard the news about Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is, I think, ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So he's not on this list. I'm going to give you another list of football players that should have been first ballot Hall of Famers that weren't. Buy, sell, hold. Okay? Mm-hmm. The most deserving all the way down. Understand?
Uh-huh.
Terrell Owens apparently wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. Tony Gonzalez apparently wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is surprising to me. And Michael Strahan apparently wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. They are all in the Hall of Fame, but not first ballot. Buy, sell, hold those guys.
I'm not as attuned to the stats here, but if I'm just going off opinion, I would say I would buy Tony Gonzalez for the Mirsig. I think he was like the all-time leading
Yep.
tight end from a receiving yards perspective. Something. I mean, I think he's up there
All-time
statistically.
tight end leader in receptions and touchdowns.
Which I think that is probably the two most important stats for a tight end for making the Hall of Fame. Michael Strahan was a disruptor and won Super Bowl
Because
or
of
Super
disruption.
Bowls, right?
Yeah, too.
And so I would hold him, and then I would sell T.O.
Bad teammate.
Agree all the way around. And I think Terrell Owens had a tendency to sometimes make his teams worse.
Yeah.
How many? Yeah. Hey, this is what I have to say about T.O. As far as being you said bad teammate. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, then by golly, it must be a duck.
I will say,
Remember what he said that about Jeff Garcia being, questioning his sexual preference. He said, well, walks like a duck. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about T.O.
I never knew that.
You never heard that?
Yeah,
No.
I remember that. Yeah, I do.
Is it true?
I know it's true that he said that. I don't know. I think Garcia
played for the Texans. I'm fairly sure.
I think Garcia, had a beautiful wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's the guy you're putting, and he's crying, "Oh, it's my quarterback! It's my quarterback!"
Right.
Tony Romo. What
In the last minute, Bill Belichick. You have any thoughts on that whole thing?
I think it's a travesty.
I have a theory on why it wasn't.
What's your theory?
I think the Hall of Fame could have stepped in, and they didn't because they were concerned about the ceremony. And can you imagine stepping up with I'm in the Hall of Fame, and I'm going to let me in the Hall of Fame, and that's why I accept it. His acceptance speech is just mumbling like he did his whole career. I say, what's he saying? This is supposed to be a big deal. All you're going to do is mumble for your whole acceptance speech.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, look.
Oh my gosh!
You blew your ear out?
Blew it out. Yeah.
Yeah, about a nickel. Hey, I would say, I think it is I mean, like, there's no reason why he's got to be the greatest coach of all time from a statistical perspective, and that's defined by Super Bowl championships, right? And just the ability to do it through all different types of football teams, generations, etc.
Didn't matter who his quarterback was.
I don't know. I'm just. Does the North Carolina thing affect?
You shouldn't
decisions of a voter.
I said, to me,
and with the girlfriend. I mean,
to me, that's a reason to vote for him.
We got to drop it right there. Stephen, thank you. OB, thank you, buddy. When we come back here on TexAgs Live, we're going to talk to Boone Niederhofer. He's going to the Olympics, Winter Olympics, first time in 40 years for an Aggie. That's coming up next. All right, welcome back to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. This is going to be a fun interview. From a walk-on wide receiver to Olympic bobsledder, our next guest has taken one of the most unique paths in Aggie sports history. I'm very excited to welcome on the show Boone Niederhofer on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Boone, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
So we're going to get into the journey and all that good stuff here in a moment. But just for a moment, like, what's it like to know you're going to be representing the United States? And I read this note. You're the first Aggie to do it in the Winter Olympics in like 40 years?
Yeah, it's been a really surreal experience. My first bobsled season was in 2019, which feels like a lifetime ago, but also yesterday in a weird way. It's just really special, really excited. When somebody told me that the other day, I honestly was extremely surprised just by the sheer number of Aggies and the number of great athletes who have gone to A&M.
All right, so I want to find out about the unique path. I thought it was rare for football players to become bobsledders, but then I started doing some thinking, and I covered Sam McGuffey, who you probably know of from his time at Michigan and Rice, and he did it. Sam did it, and I guess so. Kind of take me through the path, because I think you started off with Sam, correct?
Yes. I played football at A&M from 2012 to 2016. My senior year at A&M, I ended up tearing my ACL against LSU, and I didn't necessarily expect to go play professional football, but I at least wanted to go through the pro day. I knew I could run a good 40 time. There were some things that I thought I did well and thought maybe I could potentially get invited to a camp or something. But, the Lord was taking my life in a different direction. And so I went to work right out of school, and the company I was working for got bought out after a year and a half of working there. And, I was job searching again. And then Sam, who was the 12th man at A&M from 2013 and 2015, we were just catching up one day, and I was telling him about my job, and he was like, dude, if you're not working, come try out. And that kind of was just what sent me on this bobsled journey.
So, it's got to be, was it intimidating initially? Like, what kind of transition is it? Like, football's one kind of mechanical movement, bobsledding a little different, but there's that explosiveness.
Yeah. So, most, at least on the men's side, most guys are either former track and field athletes or football players. That's probably 90% of at least the U.S. bobsledders. Probably the majority coming from track and field. But honestly, bobsled training is pretty similar to football training, at least in the movements that we do. There's obviously a lot less lateral movement in bobsled, but really outside of the cardio that you have to be a good football player, bobsled, you're pushing a sled for 5 seconds and you're getting in, then your job's done. So don't do a whole lot of cardio nowadays, but the power and explosive part of it is definitely a good transition from football to bobsled.
All right, so help explain to somebody who doesn't understand. I understand it, but I don't understand how. How do you get good at it?
Yeah. Honestly, bobsled is one of those things where, it takes a little bit of time to learn the technique. But it's kind of like you're either good at it or you're not. It's definitely a power, speed, explosiveness thing. Some things that, you can still train those things, but you kind of either have it or you don't. And so I think you learn pretty quickly whether you're going to be good at the sport or not.
All right. So how quickly did you figure out, all right, I'm pretty good at this? Like the day you tried out, like, hey, I got something.
Yeah. I ended up making the World Cup team my second year. My first season was a lot about learning. I got to spend a lot of time with Sam, who was a developing driver. And Sam was one of our better pushing drivers as well. And so we put up some really good push times together. And then he ended up going through some injuries, and we didn't get to race together kind of after that. But but yeah, I mean, having some good push numbers my second season kind of allowed me to make the World Cup team, and then kind of I had at least a good trajectory going forward.
All right, early on, you make the squad. All right, that's amazing. But it's one thing to make the squad and then later be in the Olympics. So when did the Olympics become like more than a dream, like a potential reality?
Yeah. Last Olympic cycle, I was on the last Olympic year, I was on our USA 3 team. And so the best chance for me to make the team was for USA to qualify 3 sleds. And the driver I was with that season, his name is Frankie Del Duca. He's actually the driver I'll be racing with in Cortina this year. We ended up having a good season that year in 2022, and we got Frankie qualified, and our USA 2 team did not qualify, but they kind of were based on just kind of the rankings of the push athletes. Frankie ended up racing with our USA 2 push athletes, and so I did not get to go. And so, and really after that 2022 season, wife and I, we decided we needed to get a real job for a little bit, needed to actually make some money. And we ended up getting a job in Midland, and we moved to Midland in summer of 22. And then when I got the itch to want to do bobsled again, I went to a performance camp up in Lake Placid in summer of 23 and ended up pushing better than I ever had in the past. So that really, at the time, after that happened, Chloe and I were like, all right, we got to figure out how to make this work.
All right. So excuse the ignorance. Do you live in Colorado Springs? Like do you have to have a job now? I mean, do you have time to have a job? Like how do you pay for life?
Yeah. So after 22, we found out that Chloe was pregnant. And so that definitely made the job search a little bit more urgent. And not that we took the first job available, but we did feel really good about moving to Midland, which is where we still currently live. So when kind of in the off season, the last couple of years, we live in Midland. And when I'm in Midland, I go to our office. I currently work at a company called Civitas Resources. And then they, when I was interviewing, I was just upfront with what I wanted to do and kind of told them like, hey, I'll for the next couple of years, I have a dream of going to the Olympic Games in 26. And if you'll allow me to work remote for a few months out of the year, I think I can make this work.
And that's an amazing story, and it's great that you found a place that did that. This is just an interesting, to me, thought. Do you identify now as a bobsledder or as a football player? Because you play football your whole life, but your adult life seems to be, it's the highest of highs.
Yeah. My first few years in bobsled, the question came, like what sport do you play? Oh, I'm a football player. It definitely took a couple of seasons for me to say, oh, I'm a bobsledder. So I nowadays I definitely say I'm a bobsledder.
What's our staff in the back was coming up with some things to talk about. What's more intimidating? What's scarier? Crashing a bobsled or getting popped by a big old SEC a teammate or somebody on another squad?
Yeah, catching the ball over the middle and then getting popped is not a good experience. I think the main difference is, in football, you get hit and then that's kind of it. Whereas in a bobsled, if you crash, especially if you crash high up in the track, it's not like the sled's going to stop. You're sliding the whole way down. You're sliding the whole way down on your head. So I would say a crash is probably worse.
How scary was it the first few times? I mean, I'm sure now it's just, what you do. But in the beginning, making sure you jumped on correctly, I got to assume not only were you trying to learn the sport, that's the scary part, but like the unknown of what could happen.
Yeah. I think that the start of a bobsled race is probably the most intense thing in all of sports. You are trying to put as much energy into the sled as you possibly can, get it going as fast as you possibly can, and then you still got to get into the sled, even though the sled might feel like it's running away from you. So it's honestly really intimidating the first few times that you try to get into a sled, especially when you're in the 4-man and it's a lot more of a coordinated effort to get it in. And then on top of that, you're basically hopping into a sled that's driven by, as a rookie, you might not even really know the driver that you're with. You're trusting this guy to drive you down this track at 90 miles an hour and not crash you. And you're on top of that, you're inside of basically a carbon fiber tube with no suspension, and you're pulling 4 to 5 Gs, and you're feeling all the vibrations. You're getting sucked down into the bottom of the sled. So it's a really intense experience.
I do want to ask you, like, when do you leave? Like, what's the schedule like? Tell me about that. It's in Italy, right, this year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we are currently in Austria for kind of a holding camp, kind of a time to just get some good training in and things like that, and get prepared to go to Cortina. We actually leave tomorrow to go to Milan for some Team USA stuff. We'll be there for a day. And then on Friday, we'll leave to go to Cortina, and we'll be there through the end of the games.
I got to ask you about football stuff. Do you keep in touch with the team? Do you follow it still, the A&M football team?
I definitely still follow it. There's been a couple coaching changes since I played under someone, and so now there's not too many people there at A&M that I know anymore. But I definitely am still a big Aggie fan. With the time change, it made it a little difficult to watch every single game. But thankfully, we played at I at least got to watch our playoff game versus Miami. We played at 11 a.m., which was 8 p.m. here. So it actually kind of worked for me to watch the whole game.
Yeah.
Definitely. I definitely probably watched the least amount of football this fall than my entire life.
So what was your time at A&M like?
I loved being an Aggie. I loved the guys that I lived with. I loved the guys on the team. I loved the students that I got to study with and had classes with. I loved the A&M traditions. Honestly, A&M was probably my dream school coming out of high school. And so just the fact that I even got to go to A&M, I was thrilled with that. And then on top of that, got to live out a dream of playing Division I football. I can't say enough about how much I love A&M. And even just those 5 seasons I was at A&M were crazy in and of itself. 2012 was the year we beat Alabama and then beat Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. 2013 was the year we won the Chick-fil-A Bowl. And then, 14, 15, 16, we start 5-0, 6-0 every single year, ranked in the top 10, sky high expectations, and then, kind of stumbled at the end in those years. And, we beat Tennessee in double overtime at Kyle Field. I think that was the biggest win at Kyle Field in a really long time. So, I got to be a part of some really fun teams and play with some really good players. And, like I said, it was a dream come true.
I'm trying to think about it in a certain way, but in a way, your football career kind of mirrors what you're doing, except obviously you're going to the Olympics. There wasn't an SEC championship game in your football, but the fact that, when did football become a reality for you at A&M? When did you realize, okay, I'm actually going to play?
Yeah, I think my really the spring of 2014, which was my second season at A&M, that spring football, I caught a couple touchdowns in our spring game, and at the time, our wide receivers coach David Beatty, and then even our next wide receivers coach, Aaron Moorhead, they were really good at rotating players in. And so we were playing, 6-7 guys deep at wide receiver, even especially under the Coach Sullen offense, where we had 4 wide receivers on the field at a time, basically every single play. So we had a really deep wide receiver room. And, I feel like I also just kind of developed a little bit later as an athlete. I got quite a bit faster my second year at A&M, and then even just getting to be a part of the we call the developmental crew at A&M. All the guys that were not on the travel squad had to work out at 5:30 every single morning, Monday through Friday. And so I think just the amount of the amount of training that I got to do with Larry Jackson in those 2 seasons and off seasons just really developed me as an athlete. And then, honestly, I think there's always a little bit of luck involved. I got to make a couple of good plays of the spring game and kind of draw the coach's attention. And then, when I did get in, the first time I got to play in a game was against South Carolina in 2014. When it was kind of Kenny Hill's breakout game. I think he completed passes to like 11 different receivers that game. So and one of them was me. And so he threw a couple, I think just getting to catch a couple passes in a game also probably gave the coaches a little bit of confidence to play me. And really that season in 2014, I made the most of my opportunities and then ended up getting to have a scholarship after that year. And, like you said, the path is pretty similar, from being a walk-on to, trying to do an Olympic sport where you're not getting paid. So they're both kind of unpaid endeavors.
Well, and I love your hunger, man. And how did you end up at A&M? Like, what was that path? Were you looking at certain smaller schools to play somewhere? Were you, was it, look, if I get A&M, I'm going A&M?
Yeah. My one scholarship out of high school was to Abilene Christian University, which is where my dad and my brother both played. And really, I just had a dream of wanting to play Division I football, and so me and my dad just started sending my film around to, we would go online and just find somebody's email address and just send them the link to the film, and got a response from our recruiting coordinator at A&M. And on top of that, I knew I wanted to do engineering, and obviously A&M has a great engineering school. And so it just was kind of all signs were pointing towards A&M. Yeah. And so that made it a pretty easy decision.
Boone, I think your story is amazing, man. I think all of it, like just the fact that you played at such a high level for A&M, and the fact that you took a chance on yourself, on your athletic ability, and you're now going to the Olympics. I think it's just a beautiful story, and I hope you join us after the Olympics, man.
Yeah, I hope I get to come back to College Station at some point and hope share about my experience. So it'll be pretty cool, and honestly, even I would love to at some point come back to A&M and just talk about bobsledding to football players, guys that, maybe might be in a similar position as me where, had a dream of going to play in the NFL, but didn't get the opportunity, but want to continue competing in some way.
Hey, I was going to let you go, but I just want to follow that up. So you said most of the guys come from track or from the football world. Mm-hmm. So are they all so is your story kind of similar to some of your teammates, the guys you've rolled with? I'm thinking to myself that, are they D1 athletes? Are they, all over the place? Kind of tell me what you're surrounded by.
Yeah. So just kind of, athletes off the top of my head. We had the guys that are going to the games this year. We have a guy who was a decathlete at UMass, a guy who was a swimmer at Southern California, which might be the most unusual path. We have a guy who ran track, 100 meter, 200 guy at Utah Valley University. And then the guys on my team, track and field guy at Monmouth, 60 meter guy, 100 meter guy, a lacrosse player, and then me, a football player, and then another track and field athlete from the University of Maine. So all over the country, some D1, some not D1. So it really, honestly, a lot of bobsled is a really blue collar sport. And so you have to, obviously you have to be strong, explosive, fast. But you also have to, you have to want to work hard and kind of be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Here's another stupid question. Don't judge me. Is there a body type like 5'10", 185, or is it like, does it matter? I guess does it depend on the position?
There's, we actually were kind of joking about this the other day, just the different type of bodies that are in bobsled. You can be 6'5", 240 pounds, which is we have one guy who's that big. We have another guy who's 5'10", 205 pounds. So bobsled is a weight sport. There are rules on the weight of your sled and the maximum weight of your sled plus athletes. So you can't exceed a certain weight between the 4 athletes in your sled. So if you have a guy who's 240 pounds, you kind of need a guy who's like 200 pounds. It kind of depends. The average weight you can have on a 4-man team is 105 kilos, which is 105 kilos, which is about 230. Me, I'm like 220 pounds, so I'm kind of in the middle. And so, we have guys that are short, tall, stocky, long. I actually think when you have guys on a team that are, they have you have attributes that kind of complement each other, I think that actually feeds into a really good push.
Boone, I'm excited for you, man. Thanks so much for making a few minutes here on TexAgs Live, and we can't wait to see what you do in the Olympics and getting you back here on the show at some point.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, that was fun. Did that interview yesterday afternoon. He's obviously in a completely different time zone. I don't even know what time it is right now in Sweden. Right now, we're talking Brazos Running Company and Mace and Hay, a family legacy at Century Square. So you know about the Brazos Running Company, local Aggie-owned specialty running store there at Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill. Owned by Mike Nugent, passionate about finding the right and perfect shoe for you. And that's for all you runners, you walkers, or any of you fitness enthusiasts. That's the place that's going to find you the right shoe. All the premium brands you can imagine, from Brooks to On the Hoka, Vuori Clothing, obviously one of the hottest athletic wear brands out there, Duck Camp, outdoor apparel, and also Turtle Box speakers with maroon accents. And the Aggie spirit runs deep in this family. Mike's daughters, Haley and Macy, 4th-generation Aggies, College Station natives, created Mace and Hay, their own company featuring officially licensed Aggie merchandise, from pajamas with original artwork inspired by A&M traditions, baby blankets, and stationery. They have this timeless twist on the Aggie spirit. So from running shoes to pajamas, Aggie pajamas, this Aggie family's got you covered. Visit Brazos Running Company in Century Square or shop masonhay.com. That is masonhay.com. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie land since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. It's time for Around the Association. Randy Reyes and Sue Owen in the house. Randy is class of 01, the AVP of Marketing and Communications.
Howdy.
Howdy. And Sue, class of 94, Manager of Communications. Howdy.
Howdy.
So I can't wait to talk to you. I'm going to start off with Randy, though. All right, I know how busy you guys are year round.
Yep.
And I think your mic's off, so if you want to just turn that little button, it's not going to be on the... If you want, I can do it for you right here. But anyway, I know that you guys are starting to get super busy right now. Kind of give me a little timeline where things are.
Yeah, so obviously the semester just started. Always fun to welcome the students back, but right now the Alumni Center is hustling and bustling. Ring orders are going on, so those students are getting ready to get their Aggie rings in April, and so it's been a period of several weeks. It ends in February, but then everything else starts to hit. We've got Aggie Muster, we've got Ring Remembrance, the 50th reunion, Sol Rosh. I mean, I could keep naming things, but the spring semester definitely is one of our busiest times. This is a period where we're ramping up to get ready for all of that.
So I got to brag about you and also let you realize that sometimes I realize I'm not as smart as you realize. I realize I'm not as smart as I thought, okay? Because you have these stories that you do often that I'm like, why don't I really know that story? Like, I'm embarrassed to, if my kids were to ask me about Hullabaloo Connect, I would have to make up a fake story. And you're here to help us understand where all these things come from.
Well, that's so kind. That means we're choosing good topics.
Yes, you are.
If you're choosing things that people are, we try to choose things that Aggies will be interested in, but they may not know all about.
Right.
So that's great. That means we're choosing good stuff.
You are choosing great stuff. And I'm sometimes embarrassed, why don't I really, I kind of know the story, but
Nobody
I don't know
does.
Okay, so it's not just me.
Well, let me tell this. I mean, I've been out of school for 20 years. I've worked at the association for 10 years, and I walk by her desk, and I'm like, tell me more. I didn't know that. And so these stories are awesome, and I love reading them once Sue and the team get them done, and then you're like, wow.
Do you think maybe, because Cooper's a student right now, do you think maybe some of that is when you're a kid, you don't really appreciate the history of your university until 30 years later or whatever, 15 years later, you're like, wait, why don't I know that whole story?
Well, there's a couple things, I think. I think one thing is some people just go through it and they enjoy it. And a lot, through our whole lives, not just when we're students, but we just live it. We go to yell practice, we have fun. Sometimes we ask, or we get told a story. Sometimes the stories we get told are wrong, but they've been passed down for a long time, so they're part of the legend too. But if you go back and you sit and you dig into it and you research it, I think some of the stuff we find is just as interesting, and it tells you about how the school evolved too. So anyway, I'm wandering off topic.
No, I love it. No, I love it. So what the heck is Hullabaloo Connect?
Okay, he's speaking of him wandering through. We work fairly close together, and we'll hear occasionally a noise. Okay, so anyway, Hullabaloo Connect. We've been doing these enterprise stories, which are longer looks into things like we did the history of muster, history of silver taps. And Hullabaloo Connect, every Aggie knows it, right? So, whoop. That's how you know there's another Aggie in the room with you.
Right.
It's so familiar to us, and we have never known. There's all these stories. All the stories are wrong.
Okay.
There's the university president in the 70s was asked by the state legislator, what does it mean? He says it's Chickasha for beat the hell out of TU.
Not true.
Not true. But if you get back to the actual story, the actual story is even older than Texas A&M, which is kind of weird. It goes all the way back to 405 BC.
How is that possible?
We went deep for this one. We'll go to the story's up now on our homepage, aggienetwork.com. You'll be greeted by some leaping frogs and different things. This story is a weird one. This is an oddity, and I think really the basis for this is the history of college football in America. So when in the 1860s, when college football started in the U.S., fandom started and people were cheering for their teams, and that was something that spread from the Ivy Leagues outwards, like football did. And the people in the stands at this point are yelling all sorts of things just to make noise. Like And that they all share yells. Like you'll find other schools had the locomotive yell, like we do, rah, 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 TAMC. And it sounds like a locomotive, chugga, chugga, chugga. They did these things to make noises. We used to have, A&M used to have an old yell called Rickety Rock, where we did like this, and then we did like this. If you ever see those pictures in an old yearbook or something. But people, we have in Aggie yell books, we have a version of Hotty Toddy that we used to yell, a version of Rock Chalk Jayhawk that we used to yell. It was just syllables that people yelled. So the essential thing is hullabaloo, connect, connect really doesn't mean anything in the way that we use it. Hullabaloo is a real word, which we all know. And connect, connect has its roots in an ancient Greek play that they picked up at Yale, and they started yelling at a baseball game.
Okay.
And it worked. The baseball team rallied. So they're like, okay, this cheer works. And it morphs as it goes across the country.
Yeah.
You see it all sorts of schools in Kentucky and schools and they do different versions of it. And our version sticks. My theory on why it stuck with us is because we put it in the front of the war hymn. Pinky Wilson wrote it, put it at the start of the war hymn, so we all know it. It's right there out in front of us.
That is, how many of these have you done now?
I want to say it's like maybe 10.
10 already, okay.
Yeah.
And let's go back to the 405 BC.
Uh-huh.
Okay. How did you find that?
What we call skillful Googling.
Okay.
But that you find things and then you check them. So I actually wound up talking, I was just telling Randy, I wound up talking to a retired professor of Greek from a university in Scotland. And I'm sure this was the most ridiculous question he had gotten all week.
Right.
So I'm emailing him and I'm getting him to, okay, in this play by Aristophanes called The Frogs, there are 2 lines that turn into the Yale nerds yelled at their baseball game. Okay. So what they yelled was brekekek, brekekek, which is a noise that frogs make. There's like a frog chorus in the play.
Okay.
You know, you're rowing across the river Styx and the frogs are croaking things at you. Brekekek, brekekek, that's ribbit. And coax is what one of the people in the boat directs. He yells this at the people that are rowing, and it's basically bring the boat to shore. So it's ribbit, ribbit, heave to. This sounds insane, I realize. But Randy, you've been...
Oh my God. So this is my contribution. I'll walk through, well, she was working on this.
Yeah.
You know, I'd pick up on some of the things she was writing, come across that. And so I'd walk across and be like, coax, coax. And that was my contribution.
That was your contribution.
I would just
Very
walk
cheerful.
by and I'd be like, coax, coax, which hullabaloo, connect, right? So very
You can kind of get why people were using it to make noise.
Sure. So are there going to be we can't predict this. I'm just talking out loud. In 50 years, when you do your next version of this, is there going to be like stuff that has happened in the 90s and the 2000s, the 2010s that have become, oh, this is part of Aggie lore?
I'll tell you, I've been at the association now 12 years, and I keep saying the next time we start a tradition, we got to write it down. So I actually am kind of trying to do that.
Okay.
Like when the bubbles started in 2015.
Yeah.
I saw that the Eagle did a story. Aubrey Bloom, I think, did a story for the Eagle about how those 2 of our baseball players started the bubbles in the dugout. And I was like, let's record this stuff. We're keeping notes.
Yeah.
So that future me and future Randy don't have to dig through everything to find it.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about 12 under 12, Randy. Tell me a little bit
awesome.
about
Yeah,
what's going on.
so every year we give out an award recognizing former students who are 12 years out of school. So right now, classes of 24 to 25 qualify for this award. And the truth is we're trying to honor those who are making a difference in their communities for the Aggie Network, right? And it doesn't have to be anybody that is rocket science. I mean, we've had former students who are doing just great things in their community. But the truth is we need applications. We need people to submit their nominations for themselves, or if you know somebody, nominate somebody else. We can't choose the 12 unless we have a pool from which to choose from. And so right now that is open. Applications are open. They run through February 28th. And so would encourage anybody that is from 2014 to 2025, the classes of, or if you know somebody, to submit an application.
I do want to close out with something. You need help, right? From Aggie's about helping you get a comprehensive list. Kind of take it from there.
Of
the Aggie Spirits?
Right. So this coming May, June, we're going to be, the team is working on a special issue for Texas Aggie on Aggie Spirits. And so Aggies who are brewmasters, they work in vintner, they own vintners or distilleries. Basically, we're looking for them to feature them in the magazine, special issue Aggie Spirits. We did one barbecue, and if you kind of want to touch on it, I know your team has been working on that.
Oh, yeah,
excited
sure.
about it.
Yeah, if you remember, we did the barbecue issue where we had all the Aggie-owned barbecue, Aggie-owned or Aggie Pitmaster barbecue joints we could dig up. Same thing. We want we've followed up about 90 tips so far, but we need tips.
Okay.
Just like we need people to nominate for 12 Under 12.
That's right.
Give us tips if you know an Aggie who owns a winery or is a head brewer or a head distiller, something like that. We've got some cool people already, but we don't want to miss anybody. So if you know somebody who owns one of these businesses or is the brewer or the head vintner, et cetera, tip us off, please.
How do they get that information to you all?
So tx.ag/spirits form is how they would send us information for the Aggie Spirits. And then let me go back, tx.ag/12 under 12 for the nominations.
For the nomination. Nominate, help every way. I love when your stories come out, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't worry about Randy breaking a microphone. It just always. All right, we're going to hit a break. When we come back here on TexAgs Live, we're going to talk to Aaron Torres a little around college athletics next on TexAgs. We are back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for Around College Athletics, brought to you by Milliken Reserve, a College Station community featuring homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. Take part in the Milliken Reserve community with a Conservancy membership. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. We go to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We are joined by our friend Aaron Torres of Aaron Torres Online and, of course, Fox Sports Radio. What up, buddy?
David Nuño, what's up, bud? How you doing?
Aaron Torres, good to hear from you, buddy. Bucky Ball, I know you're a fan. They're chilling this week, no games, but a huge stretch coming and a real beatdown over the last weekend against South Carolina.
Listen, they're doing what they have to do. Listen, there's no doubt the schedule gets tougher. But, listen, what is the hallmark of a well-coached team, a healthy program? You win the games that you're supposed to. And so, and by the way, even within the context of winning the games you're supposed to, there's also the win at Auburn earlier this year. We've talked about the Tennessee game, how that was in their grasp. So I could go on, but yeah, light week for them. Interesting week in the SEC. And I think, for all of these fan bases, you have to feel good in some ways because it's actually like a almost perfect scenario. There's no great teams that you just feel like, wow, we got no shot going into that one. But there also aren't really like a ton of super terrible losses that you can take either. Like, I'll give you an example. So I'm a UConn alum, love my Huskies. Huskies are 20-1, number 2 in the country. They're not playing very well right now, David, like as far as like the on the court product. And it's like, they get tripped up against some of these bottom of the Big East teams. That's a loss that could bump them from a 1 seed to a 2 seed, a 2 seed to a 3 seed. And you don't really have that in the SEC. So it's almost the best case scenario of there's a lot of wins that can help you. There's no losses that can really hurt you. And as we enter February, something that I don't think that a lot of people said back in November is I think the Aggies absolutely have a shot to be your SEC regular season champs again. Don't know how many people were saying that in November.
Hey, I know that you'll have a good take on this. The Pete Golding situation with Dabo. I think we'll be on the same page, but I don't know. What did you think of the whole thing?
It's funny. I actually have like the least hot take about it, which is I am very glad that Dabo said something. I think, listen, we all know what's going on. Clemson fans will claim that, Dabo can say it because, he's one of the few coaches that does it the right way. I guarantee there are people on his staff tampering because what is even tampering? Now, this obviously is an extreme example. If you listen to the Dabo press conference of, they were calling him in class and saying, Pete Golding, the head coach, what's the buyout? I just, David, I'll be real. Like, I don't even know what's enforceable anymore. Okay. So like, if Darian Mensah can get out of a contract that says his exclusive NIL and his exclusive rev share rights are to Duke and to Duke only, if he can get out of that contract, then I just don't know how much any of this is enforceable. So I'm glad Dabo brought it to the public. I hope something's done. I don't know what that something would be. I don't know what's too extreme or not extreme enough. But I'm just curious as to what will actually happen, because I will tell you, it's almost like the Charles Bediako thing is if you can't enforce that as tampering when Dabo Swinney has dates, times, timestamps, whatever, then tampering doesn't exist. And it's almost like the Charles Bediako thing from the perspective of if you can't enforce a rule after, there's 7 different essential violations of eligibility, then there are no rules. And maybe that's just where we are in college sports. But that's my big take on Dabo and Pete Golding. So I'm sorry if it wasn't unique or interesting enough for you there, buddy.
I liked it. I like Dabo doing it. I do. I find Dabo to be likable. I know a lot of people don't. Maybe it's an act. I don't know the guy. I don't think it's an act. Maybe it is. But I think somebody has to say something. But again, nothing will come of it is kind of the way I look at it. Bill Belichick, not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Got to be ridiculous, right? That's ridiculous, right? I'm not alone here, right, Aaron?
No, it was funny. I heard the drop from one of the national shows that you guys play on the station. I will say, like, again, it's another one where I don't think I have a unique take because it's obviously just preposterous. And it was funny listening to the drop because it felt like we all agreed on, I guess it would have been Tuesday afternoon when the news dropped, that it was absurd. And then Wednesday was just about who could have the craziest take that stood out. And I don't think there is one. Like, listen, I think everyone that is saying, like, if you win 6 Super Bowls and you're not a first ballot Hall of Famer, then no one should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, essentially. Now, obviously, that's not how it's going to happen going forward. And we'll see what happens going forward. But, you know, what I guess I didn't know, David, is apparently, is this true? Only one coach can be voted into the Hall of Fame a year. So basically now Mike Shanahan, who was eligible next year, now has to wait another year. So listen, what I do think, and I say this about all voting for anything that matters in sports, I think votes should have to be public. I think if you're, you know, I remember years ago, there were people that were like, you know, Heisman voters that were like, well, I'm not voting for Cam Newton. And they got on this high horse about it and whatever. And whether it's the AP poll, the Heisman, or the Hall of Fame, I will say I do think if they made ballots public, I think it's a lot less likely that people are going to pull shenanigans like this. So I think that's actually probably my biggest takeaway. Whether it's the AP poll, whether it's the Heisman, whether it's Baseball Hall of Fame, whatever, make votes public, shame people who do stupid stuff, and then they're a lot less likely to do it. I think that's probably my biggest takeaway about all this Belichick stuff.
AT, last thing for you. What has happened to Inside the NBA? I have not watched much of it on ESPN. I don't even know if it's been on a bunch. I know that they took a break during the whatever. I haven't watched it. All I see is complaints that it's a different show. Why is it a different show?
Yeah, you know, listen, I'll be honest, I don't watch a ton of NBA this time of year. We did talk about this a little bit on the show. Where this came from was Charles Barkley, like, publicly complained about it last week. And I will say, and I think there's a broader sports angle here, which is I don't think the NBA has done itself any favors. And I understand why all these leagues want to be on as many different TV partners as possible. But it's like, you know, I will say, you know, sometimes it's Friday night sitting around the house, maybe the wife's out of town or something. And it used to be like, hey, you just kind of flip on it. ESPN, there's going to be an NBA game. Now there isn't. It's like, I don't even know. Like, I don't watch much NBA in November, December, January, but I don't even know what networks it's on, what days it's on. And it used to be like, okay, Thursday was the TNT night, Friday was the ESPN night, whatever. Now I don't even know. But what I do know is Barkley was publicly complaining about it. He said they worked one day between they worked one day in December through last week in January. So one time in about 60 days that they worked. And I will tell you, you know, this was a take that I had last spring when the Turner deal expired. I said, ESPN's going to find a way to screw up the best studio show. And it sure does feel like it because, to your point, I don't even know when they're on. I don't know how long they're on. And, you know, they were kind of a staple of NBA coverage that, you know, just feels like they're kind of lost in the noise now because you never know when they're actually on TV.
AT, appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
No problem, Dave. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
See you. Aaron Torres there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break, come back with a short final segment of the 9 o'clock hour before the Fan Show. Let's find out what's cracking on TexAgs.com. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Cooper Patterson, what's on TexAgs today?
On TexAgs today, that's Thursday, January 29th, we have a new piece we talked about earlier with OB where he talks about where A&M football can improve and decline in 2025 and 2026. We also have 2 episodes of The Read and React with Pop Isaacs and Zach Clements. Those are great interviews by Luke Evangelist. Later today, we have Kay Nagley. She's going to break down the Texas A&M women's volleyball transfer portal haul. We have Around the SEC with Jason Howell. We'll have a men's basketball press conference and also women's basketball coverage versus number 10 Oklahoma.
Good stuff there. Appreciate you, buddy. When we come back here on TexAgs Live, we're going to be joined by the Fan Show, guys. Sorry about that. When it comes to preserving your farm and your ranch's legacy, you got to think about tomorrow. You got to think about several tomorrows from now, right? Like you got to be talking about 20 years from now, 30 years from now, what the future generations are going to inherit it, if it's your land or your family business or just your family's blueprint, right? And that's what Heritage Films does. They do these 2-hour documentaries that tell your family's story. These family stories are things that can be preserved for the next generation. And you certainly want your next generation to know all about what your family is all about and what your family land's about. Chance McClain and his team does that with Heritage Films. Check out the website, yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com, or call them up, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. Yay, the fan show. What do we call it, the
Fan show.
Brought to you by Prize Picks. So go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got the crew here. Blake Chilton, how are you, sir?
Doing great.
It's
Glad
funny.
to be back.
I see him, I don't know, every other week or so. I was like, hey, we're going to do the show. And sometimes he's available. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hunter Shurtleff, hello, sir.
Good morning.
Roy May, hello, sir.
How are you?
How's everybody doing? We're good.
Doing fantastic.
Let's start it off with Cooper Patterson, who, he's at the Angry Elephant Youth and Social Center, about 6 minutes ago said, what do I need to ask them again? It's a hard question, I know, Cooper. I know.
Was that an impersonation of Cooper?
Yeah, or Clark Griswold. Well, he changed his Griswold look.
It's too hot. I had a nice quarter zip on, but it's way too hot in here. But I got to ask, what's on your mind?
Who are you going with?
Well, let's go with Blake first.
Yeah, man. I'm nervous about the bye week, so to speak, taking this week off and heading into Georgia because I feel like we were hot, right? Buckyball. I feel like we were kind of on a roll. So we'll see. You know, does that help us? Do we come out revived and refreshed and ready to go and steal one in Athens, kind of like Tennessee just did? So that's kind of what I'm thinking about.
Okay. Hunter?
Yeah, it's kind of a little lull in the sports season for me. I mean, I've been going to Aggie basketball. It's great.
I'm happy to have you there.
Yeah, but Aggie baseball's right around the corner, so getting fired up for that. Bronny's teasing us with some stories. But buckyball's fun to follow right now, and it is kind of fun midweek here, just kind of watch everybody else. I think we're going to beat Georgia. I feel like a little roll here. Florida, I'm worried about,
of course,
right? Bama, right? Bunch of cheaters.
Yep.
I mean,
that's
an easy program to hate, right? The coach, the player involved with the murder when he brought the murder weapon.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And now they got a professional a spit all over you. Professional athlete coming back to play. I mean, it's just like they're easy to hate. So, anyways, that'd be fun to win that one.
I'm kind of with you though. I feel good about it. I understand the concern as far as the bye week, just because it felt like they were on a roll. But when you play that pace basketball, maybe a week off doesn't hurt. And what's funny is you have the week off, and all of a sudden everything just switches right back. Right, we're back talking about football, and because there's no lack of headlines, and y'all were talking about earlier on the show. The stuff with Dan Fleming and Dabo Sweeney, or Fleming, did I get that right?
Pete Golding?
No, Pete Golding.
Yeah.
Dan Fleming, what the hell am I talking
P.F.
about?
Chang's? I think Fleming owns that.
Yeah, potato. But Pete Golding and just that whole mess, and I think AT hit on it, and y'all been talking about it kind of intermittently throughout the week. It's just what's enforceable. I mean, what are you going to do about it, right? And part of me feels like they decided, you know what, we probably should enforce this, but man, the way everything went for Ole Miss, maybe we'll give them a pass on this one. And then that just goes in the whole thing. Like if you're not going to enforce the rules, at every turn, then you can't enforce any rules. So basically, there are no rules.
Right.
Like all the points are made up. Nothing matters. There are no rules. And so now you just have an NCAA in name only, no enforcement.
That's the problem. It's time for big boy football, the power conferences, probably Group of Six, to break off and form a football organization. And
with rules.
With rules, you're going to have to put some teeth in them, like real teeth. If you don't like it, get out of our league. Get out of this organization. Wait, real quick, did you talk about this week the Dabo deal?
Yeah.
Did it have shades of Jimbo calling out? Did you talk about that?
I didn't talk about it like that because I think Jimbo seemed more ether, Nas fighting against others. But this one, I thought Dabo had class, and I liked it. I liked what he did.
Well, he brought facts too, like they were saying. You bring timestamps, you bring conversations.
He had it laid out. Yeah, Jimbo was coming from the hip, but he was firing at Saban big time, right?
Yeah,
I got kind of the same vibes.
Yeah. Jimbo was a little bit more emotional. I think there was no script to Jimbo.
Right.
Remember, because it just seemed like all of a sudden there was a press conference call, and we were like, "Oh boy!"
It was in the middle of the show.
Yeah, like here
we
it
were
comes.
talking about it. They go, "Oh, hey, they're about to go. What? Let's take it live.
About to go live.
Let's go."
But and again, and it's not just football either. You talk about the Alabama thing. It's what's going on? Like, what are we doing, man?
Hey, I actually don't know the answer to this, by the way.
Can AC Law still play?
Well, I feel like he was here a while, but the part that I don't understand is, did Bediako have to ask the G League for? He had a contract with the G League, right?
Yep.
How do you just go to another league?
He had I think it was a 2-way contract too.
Right. So can you just by the way, I couldn't be like, hey, TexAgs, I'll be back. I'm going to go without approval. Go work at KBTX for a couple weeks, right? Like, I don't think that's how it works.
I mean, does Alabama have to like buy out his contract? Like, I mean, it's complete madness.
Let's be honest, guys. It is stupid.
Correct.
There's a professional athlete who has a two-way contract with the NBA and the G League should not be able to go back to play college sports. It just, unless it helps A&M, it shouldn't happen.
Right. This isn't an Olympic sport situation, right? Where some NCAA athlete goes and plays in the Olympics and still wants to be in the NCAA athletic event. This is dumb. I agree.
Speaking of that, the Olympics realm, I'm a huge Olympics guy, so I'm excited. That the interview with
Boone Niederhofer.
Boone, that was really good.
That was fun.
It's just so neat,
Could you imagine you right now?
No.
Okay. Going back to middle school and playing, like, hey, I've been out of middle school for 6 years or
I feel like
50 years.
I could probably put up a double-double.
Maybe.
Yeah. Limited minutes.
Some of those 8th grade boys are pretty
Yeah,
big
this
now.
is true. I've seen actually some of them.
Yeah, things have changed.
So from a basketball perspective, this is the week I think we all kind of find out, like, how good this A&M basketball team is with elite talent, okay? But I don't think, regardless of what happens, I don't think it tells us the entire story. Are you guys, Blake, you want to start us off? Are you on the same page?
Just heading into this stretch?
Well, yeah, depending on what happens this stretch, right? You go 1-4, 2-3, 3-2. Now, unless it's super positive, I don't think it tells you everything yet. Like, if they don't have a good week or a good 5-game stretch, I don't think that means they're out of the tournament conversation. If they have a great week, though, I think it does. I mean, you're
Lock them in.
That starts solidifying some of these maybe narratives, right? The if narratives. So, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If we go off and we win some games we shouldn't win, then I think it will do us good. But yeah, I think there's plenty of opportunity still for this team, and I still think they're kind of figuring out who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think we lose our best player, arguably, and then people kind of go, well, we're kind of going down, and then we make a run and we steal some games we shouldn't have. So I think there's still opportunity for sure if we go 1-4, 2-3. I think we're okay.
It's got a very kind of Mighty Ducks feel to it, It's like, because you lose the player and you're like, all right, well, they're going to be scrappy and we'll kind of see what buckyball is. But this is probably just going to be a rebuilding year. But this stretch, and again, and y'all were talking about earlier, it was AT when I was driving in, was, and that's not the only part I listened to today. I listened to the rest today. I missed the first.
AT.
It's not my favorite part today. But I think what y'all were talking about, like, there's really like no bad losses, right? And so these would be considered kind of quality losses, because you're talking about the quadrant game, the way they do in college basketball. So, as long as you just don't go 0-5 and just lay a complete stinker, I don't think, there's much over the next 5 games that can kind of break you per se. But if you go 4-1, or God forbid you go 5-0 over these next 5 games, now the entire national media is going to start picking this story up.
Yeah. And look, I get it. They're ranked. Bama, Florida, Vandy. Georgia's having a good year, but people are looking at this SEC like it's okay. It's not the best league this year. So I'm wondering, are they really that good? I'm not too worried about it. I think we can play with anybody. Yeah, maybe you get your brains beat in on the boards, but they're gonna press. They're gonna get their steals. They're gonna score. So
you said something interesting about losing Mackenzie Mbaku, losing your best player, and it made me think about who did we perceive as the best player for Aggie football heading into the 2025 season?
Le'Veon Moss.
Le'Veon Moss, right? We barely had Le'Veon Moss, right? We had him for 5 games. We've barely had Mackenzie Mbaku, which to me speaks volumes, I think, of what these coaches are doing with their roster.
Absolutely.
Like, when you think about the perceived, now maybe we were wrong. Maybe Le'Veon, I think Le'Veon clearly was their best player in 24, so why wouldn't he be their best player in 25? But to me, it speaks about the culture and the way guys have stepped up for both of those programs. Regardless of how football ended, basketball is showing that, like, yeah, we're a team. Hunter, take it from there.
Yeah, no doubt. And they're fun. I think it starts with Aggie, right? But those guys, you got all these role players. Everybody's getting time. You're right. Yeah, the guy that everybody was looking for to be the impact, the big transfer, He's not there at all. I mean, it's not even the Laven Moss situation where it's an injury. So it's fun. It's fun watching that interaction on the bench and watching Bucky and these players and getting to know them, right? Because I'm not Luke Evangelist, so I'm not like in their business all the time of basketball. So I'm kind of having to learn these guys as I watch them. It's fun.
It's been fun to watch him build a culture. Yeah. And I think and the fans are buying in. The students are buying in. It is a fun brand of basketball, but there is a culture within that locker room.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Well, and it's not a gimmick, right? Because I think there was probably a portion of this fan base that was like, "Whoa, is that really going to work at this level?
Right?
Like, were we really doing this?" But it's not. Like, it is just a straight up. It's a system, and like you said, it's a culture. And I think we hammered on that so much during football season, and continue to with Mike Elko building the culture, and that's what Bucky's doing.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to be the kind of person to fit in the system and play the system.
So the way they play. When they hit threes, they're pretty much unbeatable.
Yeah.
How do they score when they're against this kind of talent that they're about to play against? If they're not hitting 23 of 24 free throws and 17 threes in a game and 12 and a half, like, can this team's offense, which is that's what it's predicated on, can they win games in the half-court set, in your opinion?
Yeah.
You could see how they do it because when teams start, they'll get their brains beat in the first half on threes, and then you'll see them come out in the second half and, hey, we're going to defend this. And then even little guys, Lane and them, are they're going to the rim. I mean, they're
aggressive.
Inside.
Yeah,
or Aggie, just kind of backing it in there. So
playing a foot taller than he is.
I think Bucky knows that if they're going to defend this, we're going to do this.
Yeah, it's the adjustments he makes within the game. It's AG playing way bigger than he is. Like you said, the small guys are aggressive to the bucket. Like if they're like cutting to the lane, I love seeing that. And the threes, like we won't go completely dead on threes, and that's the thing. And because we have that slash into the basket, slash to the hoop and kick it back out. And it's a suffocating defense, and that's how you overcome. I mean, we're getting our brains beat out on the boards already, anyways.
Right.
But it's the turnovers. It's in free throws. How refreshing is it to see us step up to the line and be like, okay, yeah, like you're not concerned about. I mean, they're not going to go 100%, but they're going to shoot at a much higher clip. And the game is won and lost at the stripe a lot. It really is. And you combine good free throw shooting, a good defense, and being able to turn them over. And I think if you're not hitting threes, it's just imperative that you do not turn the ball over. Like that's the biggest thing. Like once you start getting sloppy and you're missing threes, like that's some of these teams will run away from you.
One thing that I am, and like you can start us off here, that I don't know say makes me sad. It's not sad, but one thing I really appreciate about the Buzz era during the NIL era was that we got to see people here for multiple years. You got to see Wade Taylor grow. Mm-hmm. You got to see Anderson Garcia as a transfer grow. Henry Coleman as a transfer grow. Yeah. Boots Radford had his time here, right? Unfortunately for this group, some of these guys we're not going to get very much of, right? Rashawn Agee, he's going to have a mortgage soon, right? Like they're older guys. That being said, there is still, like if you look at the nucleus, there's still some pieces that are going to be here for a few years that we will get that same kind of nostalgic feeling for some of these players.
Yeah. And I think the culture, I think Bucky is one of those guys people want to play for. Mm-hmm. The culture that he's built so quickly with a bunch of guys that weren't here last year. With one guy on the roster.
It wasn't even scholarship.
Was here last year. Yeah. And so I think I'm excited for him to have more than 10 days to recruit a team. Because I think that's about what he had this last time. And to get some of those younger guys coming out of high school and to really build that roster. Because he's done a phenomenal job in such a short amount of time. What can he do with a full year plus to build that roster?
Guys, if Zach Clemens is going to hit threes, watch out, right? He hit 7 of 8 the other night.
That was fun because he was on fire, and that's when that first half when South Carolina just went. They were cold as ice. Yeah, they couldn't make a layup, man. They went. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's just fun to watch, and going back to the recruiting portion of it, now he has proof, right? It's not just, hey, this is my system. I think you could fit in it. This is what I've done at smaller schools. Mm-hmm. You go, hey, we did this in the SEC and it works. If you're willing to put in the work, we can do this. We can win championships. Because that's his mentality, man. He is incredibly confident. I love it. I love his press conference. I love the stuff before the season. He's talking about, we're going to win championships here at A&M. That's the bar. His energy it's infectious, and you see it on the team.
And what Dave was talking about, these basketball players getting to know him, right? And if they stay, they grow. And that's kind of a little bit unique with basketball versus football or baseball, right? Football, they got helmets on.
Yeah.
You're not seeing their facial expressions, reading them, and you don't know their face. Baseball, they got a cap on or a batting helmet. And the close-ups in basketball, you really feel like you get to know these guys. You know, that's cool.
Well, and guys like Aggie, we talked about this in football season. You know, Concepcion comes in, has an amazing season, and we'll always remember him as an Aggie, even though he only did it for a year.
Right.
You know, Aggie is the kind of guy that, and he's watching his reactions and his emotion on the court is hilarious. Like, I love that dude.
He's a talker, too.
Yeah, big time. But, you know, we'll remember him even though he only gave us 1 year. You know, as long as this continues to be a successful season, he continues to play like an absolute animal. Like, he's psycho. I love it.
Outside of losing every game the rest of the season, outside of that, this is a successful season.
Yep.
Because, I mean, I know that there was the initial bump of, maybe we'll make the tournament. And then, like, look at all this talent. He's bringing a guy from Kansas, you know, like another guy from Kansas. Let's go, right? Like, he brought in these guys that we expected. And then reality hit you. Yeah, but nobody's tall. Nobody's that big. And they don't really know each other. As a first-year coach, like, let's be honest, it's going to take a while. They've made basketball, like, you have hope. It's almost February, and there's hope for this team to make a tournament run. And maybe right now they're on top of the freaking SEC. Of course there's a hope for the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the net ratings, and we're squarely in the tournament right now, like, as we speak. And even though we've got a hard stretch coming up, that stretch ends, and then we have other games to finish out the season. And you know, every sport is like this. After you get Vanderbilt, you have one more ranked game, right? And you only have 3 at home, 3 on the road. So your only other ranked game after this 5-game stretch is at Arkansas, right? Mm-hmm. So very manageable back 5, right? This next 5 is a, kind of a monster, but then very manageable back 5. And everybody's talking about, you know, A&M's only beat the teams at the bottom. I mean, if Auburn hadn't lost to us, they'd be at the top. So it's like you beat who's in front of you, and I thought I can't remember. Like you beat who you're supposed to, and that's what this team has done. That's what good teams do. And so this next 5-game stretch is not a make or break for the season, unless like we said, like you go over. Yeah, it's not great.
That's wild. Those standings they just showed.
It is wild.
I mean, LSU. I get it. They're down there, but that's if you watch them, they're a pretty good team. I mean, I haven't watched much of Oklahoma this year, but I didn't know they were that bad.
So I should have. We were going to use this on the show earlier, but we didn't. There's a podcast called The Field of 68. Luke posted a little bit of it. Norm Roberts, who was an assistant coach for Kansas for years, and Kansas, as you know, played Stanford in the NCAA tournament. It came down to the last 10 seconds of the game. There was like a bad foul call. Kansas ends up winning. Okay, almost a miracle. You know, a typical Cinderella story in the NCAA tournament. Well, that Norm Roberts talked about how they prepared for buckyball.
Right.
And he said they did 5 on 8, and they allowed the 8th to foul. That's how they prepared for buckyball. Wow. That just tells you that, right? Like,
that sounds about right. Well, this kind of reminds me of, you know, you'll see these really good, a few years back, Army went to Oklahoma. Like, you got a week to prepare for the triple option, and it is like nothing you have ever dealt with, and no matter how good you think you are, your lack of discipline will kill you. And how do you recreate this, man? How do you recreate buckyball, you know, with your practice squad? It's impossible to do so. I'd be willing to bet your guys don't have the legs for it. Like, that's not how you train to prepare to play basketball. And so the 5 on 8, that is hilarious.
That's funny.
Our buddy Chase in Houston, guys, there are no rules with basketball. We can get all these guys back next year. Well,
yeah. Hey, you know what? He makes a good point. We can bring them all back.
I don't know if AG. I feel like AG's probably exhausted his eligibility. Something tells me.
It's quite possible.
It doesn't matter anymore.
As long as he goes to the G League, we can get him back.
This is true.
Yeah.
Let's talk right now about our good friends at Paragon Financial Advisors. Your money, and you need peace of mind when it comes to that. And that right team is Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored for you. They have a team of 18 professionals, including 9 CFPs, a CFA, and a CPA. And their expertise runs deep at Paragon Financial Advisors because credentials matter, and so does your future. Visit paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907. Schedule your free consultation today. It's Paragon Financial Advisors. Integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors.
What's up, everybody? I'm here to tell you about Fratella Italian Cafe. If anyone knows anything about Italian food, it's me, Billy Lucci. And Fratella has the best Italian food in BCS. Located at 3901 South Texas Avenue, Fratella is known for their handmade pasta dishes and feature lasagna, beef cannelloni, chicken parmesan, chicken fettuccine alfredo, a couple of my favorites, just a big old bowl of plain old spaghetti and some manicotti. Really recommend the manicotti. That's my go-to. And don't walk out of there without trying the fresh, piping hot breadsticks and the homemade in-house cheesecake, which is incredible. It's great for dining in, catering, gift cards, and even shipping, which they do nationwide. Fratella's is Aggie-owned and operated, and it's an official restaurant partner of Texas A&M Athletics. I'll see you there.
We're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The Fan Show brought to you by Prize Picks. Guys, OB has an article out identifying where A&M could improve or decline in 2026. We did offense on the show earlier, and he thinks the biggest improvement will come from the quarterback position.
Yeah, Marcel.
So, A, do you agree? And B, if so, what does it mean? Roy, start us out.
Yeah, I heard y'all talking about this with Steven. And I'm kind of with Steven on this one. I mean, if that's true, like, you better watch out because Marcel made a pretty decent stride from the year before to last year. And if he makes another really big stride, that eliminates some concerns, right? Just elsewhere around, like, because there's a concern about our offensive line just because, we've had these, the guys we had been playing together forever. So, a little mix up among the front, he can, if he's more decisive, and that was the biggest thing OB said, like if one of the biggest improvements is his decisiveness, like if it's there, take it, right? If the run is there, just take off and go. If the throw is there, throw it. Man, I would say that's probably the area for biggest improvement, just because we had such a high level of play from the wide receivers. I thought the offensive line was good. The tight ends were fantastic. I mean, you could maybe say the running back room, but Marcel probably has the opportunity to be the most improved.
On Marcel, I'm torn. I read OB's article. I liked it, but I agreed with kind of everything he said. Maybe linebacker I disagreed with. But, I've often described the way I look at Marcel, he's kind of a thrower, not a passer, right? Whatever that means. But I also know that as an 18-year-old walking on this campus and doing the things that I was involved in, I was better as a senior, right, than I was at 22 years old, 21 years old than I was at 18.
Yep.
I was better as a fifth-year lawyer than I was as a first-year lawyer.
Agree.
So, yeah, I can see him improvement. He's the guy's smart. He knows the offense. I mean, you can tell he gets it. And he was way better this year, especially with the offense when things were breaking down or even when he's looking to take off, but his eyes are still downfield. That's a huge, trait that a lot of quarterbacks don't have.
Yeah, the mobile ones, absolutely. They run first.
Yeah, I think he'll improve. I think y'all made some kind of note about guys coming from their first year to second year. And I know he played that freshman year, limited, as he's battling Wigman. I think he's a hard worker. He is a smart kid. He's driven. So he's looking at those mistakes and looking at those turnovers and looking at those things and going, all right, how can we figure this stuff out? And so I think he'll have a big improvement this next year. I'm excited about it.
If he does make that, then I think playoffs are absolutely a conversation. I don't know if I pick him as what I think will be the biggest improvement. I think you didn't get that much from your tight ends other than some spectacular touchdowns from Nate Borkature, but I think you're going to get more from your tight ends. I think offensive line, you look at it, you're like, can't be better, right? It can be good. Can it be better? And then, wide receiver, I don't know if it can be better. It could be really good. Maybe it'll be close. Who knows? But I am interested to see if Marcel does take that leap, where that takes this team. Because if he takes that leap, then if you look at the last two games of the year, Texas and Miami, there were other problems beyond Marcel. But what if Marcel was really good in those games? Do they win that Miami game? I think they do.
Yeah.
I don't know if they win the Texas game because they couldn't stop Wisner. But if he's not throwing those interceptions at the end, maybe they do.
They don't have the ball. They don't have the ball to give it to Wisner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his play was, it was bad, right? So, yeah, he plays better. I think you win both games.
Yeah.
The way that they were playing the shell coverage and all that, if he figures that out and starts hitting receivers, maybe they start playing their defense different or something. So, hard to say.
But it wasn't all on him, right? You weren't running the ball well against Texas or against Miami.
Couldn't stop the run.
You couldn't stop the run. And that's the one thing I told my buddy Rahil, who went to Texas, when before that game, he's like, yeah, we just can't run the ball. It's like, this team, for some reason, gives up big runs every game.
Trust me, you can run the ball.
You can run the ball.
You will be able to run the ball.
Which is weird, because I thought the defense was really good.
It was kind of mind-boggling, quite frankly, those last two games. And again, it wasn't all on Marcel, but y'all touched on it with Steven. And it's not just college football. It's football in general. It has become a quarterback game, and it's been that way for a while. And if you don't have a good quarterback, you're just not going to win. You might win some games, but you're not going to achieve any of the goals you set out to do. And so you got to have good play from your quarterback. Look what happened when we didn't. We almost got our doors blown off by South Carolina. But then great quarterback play would make the greatest comeback. Crappy play in Austin, we lose. Subpar play against Miami, we lose. So you've got to have that quarterback. It's a quarterback-driven sport now, and that's just the fact of it. You have to have the pieces around it. I get it. But if you don't have a quarterback, you can't line up and run the ball 60 times a game and win. It's just, you can't do that anymore.
They'll stack the box and make you throw. Yep. They will absolutely do it. And then when you start throwing, they'll alter their defense to confuse you. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll do a little bit more football on the other side. Right now, we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com if you're looking for a selection that won't break the bank, if you're looking for a great array of vehicles and you just want great customer service, you go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They are the place that we bought our Tahoe there a couple years back, and the experience was fantastic. And they have a great selection. But the main thing about them is beyond, you'll find the price that you want, but beyond that, great trade-in value. You want to make sure that customer service is going to take care of you throughout the life of that vehicle. And that's what they do. You get complimentary oil change for the life of that car once you buy it from Caldwell Country Chevrolet, as long as you own that car from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryant, to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas maroon and gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors, designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, Dad, you look pretty good today. From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. We're back here on the Fan Show, brought to you by Prize Picks. Luke Evangelist at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center is going to tell you all about Prize Picks.
Yeah, it's great. It's the leader in daily fantasy sports. And if you're new, you can go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and use that promo code to get a guaranteed $50 once you play your first $5 in lineups.
Can I give you actual credit for a moment?
Oh, gosh.
I like your fit today. I didn't know you could wear flannel over a hoodie like that, but it's a good look.
Thank you.
Quality look.
I appreciate
it.
it.
And I mean that seriously. I'm not being like, there's not a joke or a punchline later.
All right. I'm taking your word for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have worn sweatpants. But other than that, I think it looks great.
You know, you're allowed to be comfy. They don't show the bottom half on TV.
Yeah. Anyway, you want to play the game or not?
Yeah, we had to get pretty creative. So
Wait. Before.
Yeah.
Who had a really good week last week in the game?
He just wants me to repeat this so everybody can know that David.
Because you've done every week that I've been terrible. You've announced it to the world how terrible I am.
All right, David went 6-2.
Thank you.
But the real story here was Matt Browning and Roy May going 5-3. I think they're 5-3. Tougher strength of schedule, so I got to give them the edge.
I don't even know how that makes sense.
So David's the first one out.
Yeah, exactly. Your strength of schedule was pretty weak,
It's the
David. So we're
exact
not
same
giving
schedule.
you any credit at 6-2.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's an easier schedule because you're using that for every pick.
I mean, you have phones. I've seen you guys use phones. Blake's like, what are we doing here? All right, let's play it.
Okay, first up is Chris Middleton. If you're not an avid NBA watcher, you may not know that he's on the Wizards now, and they're horrible. So his line is set at more than or less than 11.5 points playing against his former team, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, this is personal for him.
Yeah.
Throw out the record books. By the way, guys, they've lost 5 of 6.
Yeah, but that doesn't, records in the NBA and stats are two different things.
I watched 36 seconds of the NBA this year.
Actually flipped on the Rockets last night just to
They got
watch
destroyed.
them. They were up by 16 and they lost by like 15. It was impressive. I probably should have turned it back off, but
I'll ask Statman over here. 11 sounds low for a kind of NBA player that at least used to be the man.
I'm going more than.
I will too, more than.
Yeah, same.
I'll go more than.
Yeah, just so you guys
He's
know.
an ag.
I'm the internet guy here. 19 points in his last game, 9, 11, 16, 17. That's his last few games. Give me more.
We're also going to go with Chris Middleton more than or less than 4 rebounds against
we did get creative.
Bucks. Yeah, we had to get real creative.
Give me less than.
I'm going more than.
I'll go more.
I'll go less.
Yeah.
All right, here's a new one. So as you know, you can play, you can pick teams to win on Prize Picks and it'll give you a different payout. Okay. So the first one we've got today is A&M women's basketball against Oklahoma. And if you pick A&M to win, the payout would be 14.28x. And if you picked Oklahoma to win, it is 1.01.
Can I pass?
So if you get I'll put in a pick for the game.
I'm not going to pick against Joni on the show.
Joni gets her big upset.
I'm just not picking.
Okay.
If I'm putting money on this because of the squeeze on it,
you can just sprinkle $5 on that and the payout would be crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
$90, yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it on A&M.
Sure.
Wow, I feel like we've got a lot of momentum here.
Yeah, the things I haven't watched this year. NBA and A&M women's basketball. But go ahead. Sorry, Johnny.
Just taking the money, just risking it. Yeah, you go Joni and the girls. Yeah.
That's a big payout. And
it is a big payout.
But you're only going to grade us on if they win or lose.
Correct.
There's no actual payout. So.
Well, so then my thought is, yeah, but here's the catch. If you pick Oklahoma, then you get 1. But if you pick A&M and they win, then we should get 14 wins.
Is that
right? Yeah.
So you're going to do that in the standings?
Yeah. But if you all
we just made this up then. You weren't planning that.
It goes back to strength of schedule.
We did say creative.
Yeah,
right.
we had to get creative.
So if A&M wins, you'll give us each 3 points.
Correct.
But
it's not going to separate anything because you all picked A&M.
Okay.
Okay, and now we have the only 3 lines available in that game. First is Nicira Pryor from A&M.
More than
or less than 14.5 points.
More.
I'll go less than.
I'll go more.
What does she average?
He's trying to separate himself.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we've got from Oklahoma, their center.
Why are we laughing?
Reagan Beers is her name. More than or less than 15.5 points.
How do you spell beers? The way it should be?
The way
it should be? Yeah, I'll go more.
How many points?
14.5.
Oh, more.
More than.
I've heard big things about her. So I'm going more.
All right, and we've got Oklahoma's leading scorer, Aaliyah Chavez, more than or less than 18.5 points against A&M.
More than.
More.
Yeah, more.
Having to get real creative today, y'all. All right, this one might be even better. All right, we've got Chris Middleton.
No, we're not going back
back to Chris Middleton.
No, we're not, are we?
Oh, yeah, hold on. More than or less than 2.5 points in the first quarter.
What is this?
More than. How come you didn't just put them together?
What do you mean?
Like
well, because I had to circle back.
Okay. More than.
Sure, more than.
What is happening?
I'm telling you, when there's not any college football or NFL football, you got to get creative on Prize Picks.
We
You're
love you,
lucky
Prize Picks.
I didn't pick table tennis or golf or a video game like Call of Duty that you could play.
I don't know, maybe top 25 basketball games or something.
Yeah.
It's just throwing that out there. Y'all got more, whatever.
All right, we've got Alex Volkanovski against Diego Lopez.
Volk!
UFC 325.
Give me Volk!
Yeah.
Hold on, it's not picking the win. It's more than or less than 22.5 minutes of fight time. They went 5 rounds in the first one.
Yeah, rematch. I'm going to go more than.
So you think we're getting a decision?
You think? Yeah, you're going all 5 rounds.
Lopez is a good fighter. He is. Yeah, I'm going to say it's another decision, but I think Volk's going to control it the entire way.
Got it.
Anybody else?
I'm going less than that.
Yeah,
I think there's 9 people watching that watch the UFC, and one of them usually watches is on the show. So
right.
I haven't watched the UFC in like 5-6 years.
You're
man.
missing out.
I'll
this
go
weekend
less.
was so good.
It was
I'll go
good.
less.
It was.
All right, and then finally, Roy, we've got something I think
Patty.
you'll be tuned into. Poor Patty. West Ham versus Chelsea.
Let's go.
in the
We're going
Premier
down.
League.
Come on, you
Here are the
Blues.
payouts. We've got, if you pick West Ham to win, it's 5.26x payout. If you pick
That
a
seems
tie,
low.
it's 4x. And if you pick Chelsea, it's 1.47x. With that in mind,
Are you doing that same thing for us again?
yes.
Give me Chelsea.
Wait, are we including a draw or is this just
Yeah,
win?
you can pick a
So
draw.
win, lose, or draw? Yeah. I mean, I'm going to take West Ham, obviously.
Of course.
You know why? Because this is a game we should absolutely lose.
Right.
And so we're going to win it because we still have to lose to like Forest, right? We have to lose to the worst teams in the league first.
Right.
And then we got to make sure we just go beat Chelsea for absolutely no reason.
For those who don't understand, right now, West Ham
About to get relegated.
could be relegated.
We're going down.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that's what college football needs. Just saying.
Could never make it work. Could never make it work in American
think
sports.
we'll find
The MLS needs to do that first.
I'll go West Ham.
Come on, you Irons.
West Ham. Okay. And David, you're going with.
It's a really
Chelsea.
bad pick.
Yeah.
The reason
I'm
the
saying
MLS
you Blues.
can't do it, they don't have the audience that college football already has built in. MLS is they're on Apple TV. Nobody watches.
Did you see the USL's doing it now?
I'm not familiar with the USL.
Yeah, if the MLS brought in relegation, I'd be like, okay,
Cool.
ran on.
College football. That's how you get your 40 best teams to play in this league. You keep your SEC, your Big Ten teams, and maybe a couple from the Big 12 and ACC as they can't go down, and then the rest of them can go down.
Is that a Josh Pate?
No, that's a me.
That's a David Nuño.
That's the David Nuño.
I like that.
By the way, I was the first one on the, not the first one, I was probably second on the bowl games before the season. Josh liked that one too.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else?
That's it. Thank y'all for joining
Come
me
on,
on
you
the
Blues.
most creative version of Pick'em.
Dude, I don't even remember what we picked.
We'll be back
At
for
this-
the
like,
Super Bowl
literally.
next week.
I just remember the center from
Oklahoma.
She's-
Beers.
Beers.
Beers. She's going big. Beers going big.
Beers.
Yep.
She is
Wicked Beers.
Yep.
behind Alicia Keys or something like that. Alicia Chavez.
Alicia
Close.
Chavez,
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
The other player that there's only 3 lines available. It's yeah.
Well, honestly, if Joni and the team do it, and we all picked her, that'd be fantastic because the last Missouri was a better run for them, but they've lost by double digits in every game.
I think I'm going to go put
$100
$100 on it,
You
honestly,
should.
and like try and win some generational wealth.
You know, you get $50 and $5 lines when she plays PrizePicks.com.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to take that $50, put it all on Joni to win tonight, and
Let's
pay
go,
my
Joni.
tuition.
I hope she does do it. She's great. All right, we'll hit a break here. We'll come back with one final segment of the fan show. Might be the last one ever after that segment. TexAgs. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Catalyst Pure Performance text line has been popping. Here's my fifth sponsor read. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Cooper Patterson, looking like an 80s dad, has got the most recent text.
We've got Chase in Houston. He says, what's funny is if Marcel plays better against Texas and they win, they don't play Miami because they are probably an Ole Miss spot, if not 4 or 5.
Let that sink in for a second.
Thanks.
Yeah. True. Bad draw because of the loss, yeah.
I think the committee got it wrong. A&M should have been a top 4 seed. I still believe that. And it doesn't matter because they didn't play well enough down the stretch. So, but I think we would have all felt a little better regardless. Do I think they would have beaten, if they would have been the 4 seed, they would have played
Oregon?
Tech was, so
yeah.
No. Well, I don't know. Yeah. Because I don't know how that would have bumped everybody else.
Well, yeah.
There's the bracket. It would all be different, right? Like, I mean, who would have moved to the 7th spot? But theoretically, I don't know how many games they win. They may not win one. Have they been, a 5 or a 6? I think they definitely win that first game, and we feel differently about the way the end of the season. But they didn't. So this is their reality. A lot of quietness on TexAgs Live. We go back to the
It's just depressing.
You don't have to pause either. You can read one.
Gotcha. I was looking for something. We got a crazy hypothetical. Johnny Manziel on his podcast had Diego Pavia on the other day.
Oh, I saw that clip.
I agree with Johnny.
And they're asking who would win between 2025 Vanderbilt and then Johnny went with 2012 Texas A&M. I want to throw out that hypothetical game in y'all's minds. What would y'all think would happen?
I think Johnny was low. I think they'd just absolutely steamroll Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I'm curious. Look, this is not a shot at I think what Vanderbilt's story is fantastic in today's college football. It's an amazing story.
Best Vanderbilt you've ever seen, right?
Yeah. Johnny Manziel, to me, was more classy at quarterback. Just saying, during his Heisman campaign. How many NFL draft picks were on that offensive line? I don't know how many Vanderbilt's going to have. I haven't followed it enough. I know Stowers has the ability to play at the next level. I think Poppy is 5'9". I mean, Johnny wasn't that much taller.
Plus, Vandy's defense was salty, but they weren't like a shutdown defense. That offense would have moved the ball.
In that hypothetical, I think it's not close, and they win by 30 plus.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
that 2012 team was just
well.
ridiculous.
You also have Bama, the national champion, who we beat in that. On our schedule. Like, I mean, it's the SEC's different.
And I'll tell you this. What's his name? The ghost of Texas past. He's a Texas Longhorn fan who lives in the area. I believe he's the one who tweeted that he thinks A&M would have boat raced.
Yeah, he's like, I agree with Johnny.
Yeah, like if a Texas fan thinks that, you know it's true.
Right? Well, I mean, Vandy was fun to watch and Pavi was fun to watch, but that 2012 team was just on a different level.
Yeah.
What else, Mr. Patterson? We also got one from Durham. He gives us a comment. I want to ask what y'all think. He says, Florida is scary good. I think we can beat any of the others, and if we hit threes, watch out. Talking about our upcoming 5 games in basketball.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's a bad matchup, right? But I mean, look,
maybe we're a bad matchup for them.
We've already had some bad matchups, right? I mean, you play all the 7-footers that we've gone up against. That automatically is a bad matchup. It's just I think the way this team scraps, any of those games are winnable. Honestly, I mean, at least you get Florida at home, right? At least you're not having to go to Florida to play that one. So I think you look at this, and again, like you were saying, Hunter, I mean, how good is the SEC this year?
Yeah, none of those teams are like, oh my God, it's, number 1 ranked Kansas.
You're looking at
back in the day.
1 seeds.
Guys, let's just say they go 2-3 in this 5-game stretch, which I'm not saying that's what I'm predicting. I think they're going to beat Georgia. That's my opinion. And if they beat Georgia, I'd probably pick them to beat Bama. I don't know. Maybe I'm smoking whatever. But let's say they go 2-3. That puts them at that point? They'll be 8-3. Is that right?
8-4.
8-4.
8-4. Okay. And then you have Ole Miss.
Tennessee game. Wish I hadn't gotten away.
Right. I mean, you've got to still find 3 more wins.
Yeah, 8-4. You're still way up there in the standings too, because everybody's got all these L's in conference play. So,
can you get at least 3 more wins in that schedule?
Oh, I think so.
Absolutely.
Because I think 11. It doesn't matter what you do in the tournament. I think you're in.
Yeah.
I think at 10, at least this is what Luke told me about a week ago. At 10 wins,
you might need a little help
because of your strength of schedule, right?
Right.
And your non-conference was not that tough. So, can you beat Texas? Can you sweep Texas? Can you sweep LSU? And what is the other?
Plus, you got 5 home games in there, so there's a lot of opportunity for
at Oklahoma.
Yeah. No, I mean, I look at that, the block that, that kind of coming down on the home stretch kind of thing. There's, just look at where those teams are in the standings.
Yeah, at Oklahoma. I mean, that doesn't scare you.
No, I mean, and I think this team has shown, and obviously, like I just said, I hate that it slipped away, but this team can go on the road in a hostile environment and take a good team to the brink. And a game that, they should have won. But, and again, Tennessee is one of the most intimidating places to play basketball in the nation. So, these kids aren't phased going on the road. They're not. They won in Austin. So you get Texas on the rebound, on the reverse, you get them at home. So there's plenty of wins in there to get to 11.
All right. With 2 minutes left on the show, a week from now, softball gets going. In a couple weeks, baseball gets going. How excited are we for the Diamond Sports? You start us off, Blake.
I'm excited about softball. I think they've got a lot to prove. They got a chip on their shoulder after last year, so I think Trish Ford's been building something there. So that'll be exciting. Baseball, to be honest, I'm kind of a wait and see right now.
I get that. I mean, pitching's a question.
Yeah.
Hunter?
Definitely baseball. Yeah, still a lot of new faces, and it's just something about that sport. When you're starting out, everybody's got all the faith. So I think they're going to be good. They're going to be better than they certainly were last year.
I really like Michael Early. And I know that liking somebody doesn't translate to wins and losses.
But you want him to succeed.
But I want him to succeed. And I don't think he was put in an impossible situation last year because, he had a lot of talent on that team. But, just think about it, the way that all unfolded. I really wish I could have gone back and talked to David Nuño, the host, before that season started and be like, dude, do you realize what he's inheriting? This is not a normal situation. There's a lot of talent. But it's, so I'm hoping he can kind of put his imprint on that team this year because I don't know if he was able to fully do that last year.
No doubt.
Well, and he had to learn how to be a head coach last year. And I think he kind of was able to, I mean, I would think that he was able to, step back after the year, objectively look at the job he did and how he approached it and tweak things. And from what I've heard, he's tweaked some things on how he runs things. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Losing the left-handed pitcher isn't great, but cautiously optimistic about baseball. I'm kind of the same with you on softball. They should have a chip on their shoulder. I'm interested to see how Sidney Lessentine has developed over the year. Because we saw Emily Kennedy, just such a big part. And that's, softball's, you need one pitcher. I mean, that's kind of it, So, if they can get good in the circle, watch out.
Got to drop it there. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming in, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you. All right, that's going to do it for TexAgs Live here on the Thursday. Tomorrow on the program, Billy Lucci, Olin Buchanan. That's it so far. Luke Evangelist is back. And I thought I hated the fan show. I'm just kidding. We'll see you guys mañana.